1. We're at Goss Stadium here in Corvallis, Oregon. Game 2 between the Golden Gophers of Minnesota and the Beavers of Oregon State. The Beavers can clinch a trip to Omaha for the 7th time in team history tonight and a 2nd straight year. Here's our side of the bracket. Cal State Fullerton has evened its series with Washington. Mississippi State can clinch a trip to Omaha tonight. North Carolina earlier today punched a ticket to Omaha. They will play the winner of this Super in Omaha on Saturday. Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Corvallis alongside the great Mike Rooney. I'm Clay Mathick. Glad to have you along here tonight where the Beavers can wrap it up. But standing in the way, the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, Patrick Fredrickson.
Yeah, and Clay Fredrickson, the most important man in the building for Minnesota tonight. They've got an outstanding bullpen, but can this young freshman keep the game intact to get to that bullpen? You can see 6'6". He's from the Northwest. How about this? Was the freshman of the year and the pitcher of the year in the Big Ten this year. Big assignment for this youngster.
Oregon State's lineup features 5 draft picks, 3 first-rounders. They've been chewing people up and spitting them out.
Statistically, it's been utter dominance. 43-5, they've outscored everyone. They do it so many different ways. Super fast, super diverse, a lot of power. How about 7 home runs so far in the NCAA tournament? 2 out RBIs. You name it, Clay. There's no way they can't beat you. It's the most dynamic offense in college baseball right now.
The Beavers' offense has been relentless. Will it continue? On the road to Omaha. The game is next. Big stage for that young man. 6'6", 210-pound freshman Patrick Fredrickson.
Clay, fastball get up to 92. The changeup's the pitch that will stand out. Here's what he really is. He's an advanced game manager. Belies his age as a freshman. Very poised and can just find a way to get outs.
Oregon State jumped out to a 3-0 lead yesterday in the bottom of the first. Tonight they hit first with a lineup that would put the fear in any team. Stephen Kwan leading it off, followed by Grenier, Madrigal, Larnach, and Rutschman. Grenier, Madrigal, and Larnach are all first-round draft picks. Rutschman could be a first-rounder next year. And the first pitch is a strike to Stephen Kwan.
Great sign for Minnesota and Fredrickson. With all the pressure on him, first pitch strike under control. Well done.
Kwan 2 for 4 with a couple of runs batted in yesterday. The prototypical leadoff hitter. Leads the team in walks and hits. And he sends a liner to left field. Coming in, Mazenga. He'll make the catch on the gallop for the first out. It is a good Gopher defense behind Fredrickson. Fielding at a 977 clip. Mazenga, Boxwell, Kazuki from left to right. Micah Coffey, the veteran at third base. Taran Vavra, third-round pick of the Rockies at short. Luke Pederson and Cole McDevitt completing the infield. And Eli Wilson, also a native of Washington State, is catching the Gig Harbor, Washington native.
Like all good defenses, it's really for Minnesota because they're super athletic and they are very strong up the middle. Of course, Eli Wilson, the son of former Major Leaguer Dan Wilson. Great pedigree there.
Here's Caden Grenier now. Grenier was 0 for 5 with a couple of strikeouts yesterday. The only Oregon State starter not to reach base in the 8-1 win. First round pick of the Orioles on Monday, 37th overall. Ground ball back at the middle. Vavra lays out, can't get it. Here's the first hit of the game for Oregon State.
Just an outstanding job. Fredrickson's first changeup of the game, which will be a critical pitch for him. Grenier not trying to pull it, stays middle of the field. You can feel a certain electricity in the stadium tonight, Clay, and Fredrickson will have his work cut out for him.
And Madrigal will come up for the first time. He got the first of the 11 hits for Oregon State yesterday, went 1 for 4.
He's an aggressive swinger. He wants to swing. You know, the analogy I like for Madrigal is he's a more athletic Dustin Pedroia. There's nothing he can't do on the field. And for Pat Casey running the offense, you can go hit and run here. You can have him drive a ball in the gap. He can bunt. And they will try to run on Fredrickson in this game.
Grenier has 8 stolen bases on the year. Madrigal flashed bunt. Pat Casey has an athletic team. He's not afraid to unleash the horses. 24th year running the Oregon State bench. 57-year-old Oregon native. He and his wife Susan have 4 adult children. This is a well-respected man. Not in just the baseball community, but here in the Corvallis community, the fans absolutely adore Pat Casey.
And he's an Oregon guy. You know, that's the perfect coach for this program.
Beaver fans have shown up again here tonight.
You can see Clay Fredrickson's 6'6", and he's a freshman. Oregon State will most likely pressure him with the inside game, meaning stolen base. It's very hard for Fredrickson to be quick to the plate and hold runners, because holding runners is about quick feet and a short arm. That's not something that he brings to the party. So look for Oregon State maybe to have a little bit more of the little game tonight than usual.
2-0. Slapped the other way and past Cole McDevitt into right field. On his way to third is Grenier. First and third, nobody out. Oregon State picks up where it left off yesterday.
You got a changeup guy who wants to go fastball way as well, so Madrigal just stays on the baseball. Watch him let this ball get deep. Boy, that is pretty. Best player on the field. Every time you see the Beavers play, that's the best player on the field right there.
You know, the biggest knock on Nick Madrigal, Bruins, is his height. He's listed at 5'8", more like 5'7", but he plays so much bigger than his physical stature. And now another guy who is a big man, Trevor Larnach, also a first-round pick. He was the 20th overall draft pick this year of the Minnesota Twins. Went 2 for 3 with a 2-run homer and a walk yesterday.
One thing about Larnach, it's some of the best opposite field power in college baseball. He really loves to use left center field. So if you're Fredrickson, your fastball away and your changeup are dangerous pitches. You really have to get a fastball in on Larnach's hands and get him sped up. Of course, you also have to address the running game. A lot on Fredrickson's plate right now.
Hit his 18th home run last year. That made it 2-0.
Boy, you credit Fredrickson right there. He is an absolute danger zone. This stadium is ready to erupt, and he still has the poise to go fastball right in there.
'67 runs batted in for Larnach. Rutschman has 68. He's in the on-deck circle. Scoring chance here for Oregon State right out of the gate. Pitch inside. It's a ball and a strike.
It's well done by Fredrickson. You have to do that.
And there's Adley Rutschman, the big Oregon State catcher, ready to hit next.
And a kid that will be a first-round pick next year. That's the thing, Clay. You think about it. This is a team with 4 first-round picks in their lineup. Rutschman, just a sophomore. Next year will be his draft year.
Inside, runner goes, and no throw. Madrigal in there with a stolen base.
And you just think about that from momentum, Clay. You know, now Fredrickson's even more mindful of the running game. You're out of the double play. There's so many ways these guys beat you. There's no way they're throwing out Madrigal with the jump he had right there. Just a complete baseball player.
That's why the White Sox went after him with the 4th overall pick. White Sox manager Rick Renteria loves guys like Madrigal, the way he plays. And he's going to fit in well to their system.
You said it, Clay. The only knock on him is height. I mean, that's the only thing. And when you have guys like Altuve and Pedroia that have played so well in Major League Baseball, it's kind of nullifies it.
2 balls and a strike to Larnach. Hit well. Nice snag by Pedersen. Can't come up with a throw. 1 run is in. And now Madrigal's going to have to scurry back to third. He's out. Oregon State gets on the board as Grenier scores. And they're 2 down. And now Pedersen appears to be sore in the arm as he dove for that ball in left field.
Boy, you just hope he didn't separate his shoulder. Larnach hammers this baseball in a heck of a play. Boy, you can see Pedersen's already feeling it right there. And still, how about the toughness to get up there and make that throw, Clay? He's making that throw with his left shoulder, killing him. I'll tell you, if there's one criticism that's fair of Madrigal, is he's ultra aggressive, and he's going to make some aggressive mistakes on the field. Boy, I'll tell you, Pedersen, that is some type of toughness right there. He made that throw to home plate, which led to the out of Madrigal with his shoulder presumably out of socket.
So Madrigal is out. That's 2 down now for Oregon State here in the first. They have outscored opponents in the first inning this year now, 53-23. As we take another look at Luke Pedersen and the short right field grass, or turf as it is here at Goss Stadium, prepared to injure that right shoulder.
You know, it'll
be his left shoulder.
Looks like when he was trying to get himself up so quickly. Boy, that is really impressive. Good luck getting him out of the game, by the way, Clay. That's really impressive.
That is ruled a hit for Larnach. Pedersen only 3 errors on the year at second base.
I'll tell you, Clay, circle that play. That's a huge moment in this game. This place was ready to explode. And if you're Fredrickson, if you can get out of this inning 1-0, that would be, absolutely.
Well, and that's the thing about Fredrickson. He danced around trouble in the UCLA game last week in the regional. And ended up only giving up 1 earned run on 4 hits over 6 innings. He did walk 5. The switch hitting catcher, Adley Rutschman, 2 for 3 with a homer yesterday. Second on the team with a .384 average. Second in homers with 7. And Rutschman leads the Pac-12 after yesterday with 68 runs batted in.
Here's the other issue, Clay, for Fredrickson. 4 hitters have come up and 4 guys have hammered baseballs. There has not been a softly hit baseball yet, so you wonder if maybe Pat Casey will come off of the running game a little bit, because Fredrickson hasn't showed you that he's got something to fool your hitters.
Rutschman dumped it over the fence in left center field yesterday. And he hits it the opposite way this time. It's going to twist foul. Larnach and Rutschman back-to-back yesterday. It was 3-0, just 5 batters into Oregon State's first at bat last night. And they never let up.
And it's, you know, Reggie Meyer had just given up a fastball away for a home run to Larnach. So he's thinking, okay, I'm a veteran. I'll make an adjustment and go breaking ball to Rutschman, who then hits that out of the yard.
Georgia Tech catcher Joey Bart was selected number 2 overall by the Giants this year. And like you said, Runes, next year it could be Rutschman's turn to be the first catcher taken, and he might be the first player taken.
No question. I mean, you know, Bobby Witt Jr., if you remember Bobby Witt, the big leaguer, his son is a high school player who's the best in the country. That's another name for next year, but Rutschman is as good as anybody. I would tell you too, Clay, I think Rutschman is a better prospect than Joey Bart. No offense to Joey Bart. Bart has got great power and a great arm, but Rutschman is a more complete athlete to me, a more complete player.
3 straight hits against Frederickson for Oregon State. Minnesota trying to get out of the inning without any more damage being done. That pitch is down. Wilson came up ready to throw.
And so think about the combination, Clay. Frederickson, 6'6", does not have a good move to first. He's slow to the plate and throws a lot of changeups. So this probably will be a big running day for Oregon State. Pat Casey can tell his runners, you don't need your best jump to be able to steal second base. Eli Wilson will have a lot of pressure on him.
2-2. Home plate umpire Darrell Arnold tonight.
I like this, Clay. I mean, Frederickson, for a freshman, he's not afraid to buzz his fastball in there. That's twice we've seen him do that tonight. And if you think about it, fastball in and a changeup, speed the hitters up, slow them down. It's a nice mix.
Ground ball to the first baseman, Cole McDevitt. He'll step on the bag, and Frederickson and the Gophers will take it. 3 straight hits, but Oregon State only gets 1.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals is presented by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet? And in part by Pella Windows and Doors. Tested beyond requirements with style beyond ordinary.
Jacket weather here in Corvallis, Oregon. No rain, though. That was the case yesterday, but we played through it. Bryce Femmel on the mound for Oregon State. He has won his last 5 starts.
Tell you, Clay, pitches like a California kid that you'd think. A lot of feel for pitching. Fastball in the upper 80s. He sinks it. Good slider run away from the right-handers. It's more pitch over stuff. Just the art of pitching.
10-1 on the year with a 2.77 ERA. The Minnesota lineup a little different for John Anderson tonight. Luke Pedersen still in that leadoff spot. You see that Toby Hansen has been moved from number 9 to the cleanup spot where he spent most of the first half of the season. Cole McDevitt drops down to the number 9 spot in the Minnesota order.
It's interesting because Hansen really had ambushed a bunch of pitches from the 9-hole, and it was a nice little secret for him. And now moving him up to the 4-hole makes sense. He's playing great, hot hitter.
Had a home run yesterday, Minnesota's only run in the ballgame. Great offense, number 1 in the Big Ten, averaging close to 7 runs per game, but they were held under 3 runs for the first time yesterday, for the first time since April 28th. Pedersen, lefty leadoff man, the first of 6 lefties in the Minnesota lineup.
And the first 3 in particular, Clay, super fast, left-handed, quick twitch players. Really fun group, these first 3 left-handers.
Femmel out to a quick start, 0-2.
And that's a really big pitch. First changeup. In theory, a right-handed pitcher with this many lefties, your changeup is your go-to pitch over breaking ball. That's a good one right out of the chute.
Pedersen 0 for 3 yesterday against Luke Heimlich, the Oregon State left-hander. Femmel had a complete game, 10 strikeout performance last year against Vanderbilt in the Super Regionals. This guy, over the years, Runes, has pitched in a ton of big games.
It's so fun to see because it's all about the art of pitching. Just in and out, up and down, upsetting hitters' rhythm.
Pedersen flicks it foul. Femmel had an extra day of rest, pitched game 1 of the regional last week against Northwestern State, struck out a season-high 9 in 7 2/3.
The other thing about Femmel, Clay, is he's really good at home here at Goss Stadium because he pitches to contact and basically runs the baseball into this elite defense behind him.
See the numbers from his performance last week. Not a bad pitcher over the last few years, considering he came to Oregon State as an infielder. Fly ball to center. And Stephen Kwan, who covers a lot of ground at center, won't have to move much for that one. And the 5th round pick of the Indians grabs it for out number 1. Here's the defense behind Fimmel. Anderson, Kwan, Larnach in right. He made a great catch in the gap yesterday. Gretler, Grenier, Madrigal, Zach Taylor from 3rd to 1st. And the ever-capable Rutschman behind the plate. Is there a better defense in college baseball right now? We talk a lot about their offense runs, but the defense is stellar too.
Yeah, there isn't a better defense in college baseball because those kids that were drafted, they're not just great hitters or great athletes. They're great baseball players. Madrigal is the perfect example. This is an excellent athlete with baseball IQ off the charts.
Strike already into Ben Mazenga. He just missed. 12-game hitting streak for Mazenga. Went 2 for 4 yesterday and was the only Gopher with more than 1 hit against Heimlich. Minnesota had 8 hits total. Strike 2.
Boy, that's pretty, Fimmel, the same thing. He knows he's a guy with not electric stuff, so he's going to buzz the fastball in there to get those hitters sped up, get them thinking about it. One thing that's neat, Minnesota has a good bunting game too, just like Oregon State.
See the shadows creeping in over home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ben Mazenga, one of the veterans on this team and one of 20 Minnesota natives on the roster. And all but 3 players for John Anderson are from the Midwest. It's a homegrown team that needs to win tonight to force a 3rd game tomorrow. Here's the 2-2. Caught the inside corner, strike 3. First strikeout for Bryce Fimmel.
I'll tell you, Clay, typically I don't really care for pitchers, but this is fun. I mean, this is just fun. Watch him run this fastball in. It's a 2-seamer, so it starts really in the batter's box and then runs into the strike zone. Rutschman does a great job receiving it. I mean, this is just classic, and Fredrickson does it a little bit too. Just great pitching.
Now Minnesota's shortstop, Terrin Vavra, the leading hitter for the Gophers with a salty .390 average. 3rd round pick of the Rockies this week in the draft. 10 homers, 59 runs batted in. He's been sitting in the 3-hole all year. And he puts a charge into this one to center. Doesn't carry very far. Kwan makes the catch. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Fimmel. To me, of Mississippi State. 5 homers in the national tournament, 2 walk-offs, including last night in the 10-8 win over Vandy in Nashville. So Gary Anderson's bunch can lock up a trip to Omaha tonight. North Carolina has punched a ticket, Runes, to Omaha. Tennessee Tech beating Texas today, and Cal State Fullerton evening up that series with Washington.
Yeah, you knew Fullerton would come back strong. How about the Tennessee Tech group? Ethan Roberts, their closer, is just dynamite, and that is a group that is not scared of anything. Really neat to see that Tennessee Tech club.
Brettler, Novak, and Anderson to hit here for Oregon State as Fredrickson throws strike 1. This would be a big inning for Patrick Fredrickson, the freshman, Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, Freshman of the Year. Gave up 3 hard hit balls last inning, I should say, and only gave up 1 run.
Stuff has been fine, Clay. In command, he's thrown strikes and has done a nice job at least running a couple fastballs in on the hitters, and changeup has been very good. It just, the problem is the Oregon State hitters are really, really good.
Hitler extends his hitting streak to 13 games. Leadoff man is on here in the 2nd. For more on the College World Series, which returns to Omaha next Saturday, a week from today, go to NCAA.com, the online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Brettler, the 10th round pick of the Pirates, is aboard. And now the DH, Kyle Novak, comes up, a 5th-year senior in his 3rd year in the program. had a big regional. Went 4 for 9 with a homer and 8 runs batted in. He was 0 for 3 with a walk yesterday.
This is a part of the order where I think you'll see more action, Clay. Fredrickson is susceptible to that. He throws a ton of strikes, so he's a guy you could hit and run off of. Novak's a good runner. You could bunt here. And I think Pat Casey will keep executing to keep the game sped up on Fredrickson.
Bretler has 1 stolen base on the year. Fredrickson's going to keep him close.
It's definitely more of a hit and run type of situation. Maybe bunt.
Novak 5 homers, 24 runs batted in on the season. Hit to the shortstop. Vavra could be 2 to second for 1 to first. Double play. So Fredrickson gets the 6-4-3 twin killing. It'll be 2 down for Anderson.
I'll tell you, Clay, that'll be interesting. Pat Casey, when you're running the offense, the thing that bugs you more than anything is a double play. And you can see Pat Casey very mad at himself for probably not putting on a bunt or a hit and run right there. And I bet you will start to see more action now. That is very frustrating when you're running offense. You want to let a hitter have some freedom, but that double play stings.
Now he wears his emotions on his sleeve at times, Runes. You can really see it there.
Fierce competitive. I mean, Pat Casey, you watch him coach, it's almost like watching somebody who's still playing.
4-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year, also 4-time National Coach of the Year. Here's Jack Anderson. He's 1 for 3 in the Super Regional. His baseball career ends when the Beavers' season is over. He's hoping that's going to carry right through to the end of June. But he's a kinesiology major. Just announced he's heading to graduate school to become a doctor. Grounds to Vavra as well. Vavra bobbles a bit, but he has time to throw out Anderson. Fredrickson faces the minimum in the second. Welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Alongside the professor, Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick. It's 1-0 Oregon State as we move to the bottom of the second inning. Oregon State already has 4 hits, with just 1 run on the board. Patrick Fredrickson getting a little help from his defense the last half. Got a big double play ball.
And using his defense, which was the scouting report. He's a very poised game manager, and he's been that, all of that.
Here's Toby Hansen batting in the cleanup spot tonight, the Minnesota DH. Drove in Minnesota's only run yesterday, a solo home run to lead off the 8th against Luke Heimlich. Seven for 14 with 5 runs batted in the national tournament.
Up, Bryce, come on, kid!
It's a big night for Minnesota after really getting run out of the place yesterday. And they want a good showing tonight. It is the program's first Super Regional appearance after winning its first regional since 1977. Ground ball right side. The first baseman Taylor takes it himself. And Femmel has set down the first 4 Gophers he's faced.
This is a really good Minnesota team, and it's, you know, the Beavers can shock you. They can just get on you so fast, and that's really what happened last night. I'll tell you though, right now, Clay, I said I don't like pitchers. I kind of misspoke. I like to pick on pitchers. I mean, Kyle Peterson, I like him, but this is fun. This is a really well pitched game so far.
And John Anderson knows a thing or two about pitching. He was a Gopher pitcher back in the 70s under Dick Siebert. 37th year at Minnesota, the winningest coach in Big Ten history. You know that this is a special weekend for him. First trip to the Supers in all those years coaching the Gophers. Micah Coffey's up now for Minnesota. 1 for 4 yesterday. Popped up, foul ground, is going to drift out of play. And his team has been very consistent, Runes. They've only lost 2 in a row 2 times this season. 2 Pac-12 schools, Washington and UCLA, beat them in early March at US Bank Stadium. And Creighton got them 2 straight a week later. Otherwise, they've been very resilient. Really like the way Femmel's getting ahead of hitters.
Oh, man, both guys are doing an awesome job, Clay. They're establishing fastball in so hitters can't cheat away. Femmel has particularly showed them breaking ball for a strike, changeup for a strike, cross-counting, meaning any pitch at any count.
Now 2-2 to Micah Coffey.
Makes it really difficult. Hitters thrive on certainty, being able to have an educated guess on what's coming. And both Fredrickson and Femmel have done a nice job really keeping the hitters thinking and keeping them off balance.
Coffey pops it up on the infield. Rutschman has his mask off. The third baseman calling everybody off, and Gretler will make the catch. This defense for Oregon State doesn't beat itself. A .980 fielding percentage, 9th best in the country, and Gretler was the right man to make that play.
And I'll tell you, Gretler might have some words for Rutschman after the game. Watch Rutschman throw his mask on the field. You're taught to throw it off the field. So basically, it's a landmine for Gretler. Michael probably has to say to Adley, hey, I thought we throw the mask off the field.
Yeah.
Still makes the play.
Boy, this is a tight-knit Beavers team. As Eli Wilson hits, and he swings at the first pitch and deposits it into center field. First hit of the night for the Golden Gophers, and it comes from Seattle native Eli Wilson. Back in the Pacific Northwest, Wilson's dad, of course, Dan Wilson, who played for the Mariners, still works for the team as a scout. He's at first base now. First base runner for Minnesota against Bryce Femmel.
Eli Wilson's showing his teammates really the answers to today's quiz. When you've got a guy like Femmel that can mix and match any pitch, any count, middle of the field is your friend. You cannot look to pull, just stay in the middle of the field.
Right here, Bryce, come on, kid.
Now the very athletic Minnesota center fielder Alex Boxwell. Boxwell swings at the first pitch. It's going to be a tough play for the second baseman Madrigal, but he makes everything look easy. And the Beavers get out of the inning. Minnesota strands a runner. Here we go to the top of the third inning. Some great ball players. Conforto, Ellsbury, Darwin Barney. They've come out of Oregon State. And there were 3 first-rounders this week. Nick Madrigal taken 4th overall by the White Sox. The California native has a bright future in this game. Trevor Larnach, the 1st overall pick this year by the Minnesota Twins. And Caden Grenier. He was taken in the supplemental round by the Orioles, the Henderson, Nevada native.
How great is that? Grenier and Madrigal are under 6 foot middle infields. Like, that's great for the game, that you can be that size and be a first-round pick because you're just a great baseball player.
It'll be 9-1-2. Zach Taylor, Stephen Kwan, Caden Grenier. 4 hits for the Oregon State offense already against Patrick Fredrickson, but he's only given up 1 run.
Battle right here. Let's go.
Fredrickson's changeup really good so far tonight.
Some cloud cover now. Sun no longer a factor, at least right now. We'll see if it comes back. Called strike 3. First strikeout for Fredrickson, 1 down.
Changeup for strike 2, and looks like the good fastball here Wow, look, see that run? That ball starts off the plate away, and it's a two-seam fastball that runs back into the strike zone. That's impressive. Hard to believe that Patrick Fredrickson's a freshman.
First Gopher to win Big Ten Pitcher of the Year since Glenn Perkins in 2004. Back to the top of the Oregon State order, and Stephen Kwan. Kwan lined out to left his first time up.
And it was a bullet. He really hit it good.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see Kwan showing bunt. For the freshman Fredrickson, poise is going to be so key. He's going to give you a lot to think about here.
We touched on this yesterday. Minnesota allows the pitchers essentially to call their own game. Eli Wilson will flash the signs as they make suggestions from the dugout, but the pitchers have autonomy. They can shake off and essentially throw what they want, which makes what Fredrickson has done this year, Mike, all the more impressive because he is a freshman and he won the League Pitcher of the Year award.
There's pitching coach Ty McDevitt right there, and it's interesting. I said, hey, you let Eli Wilson call his own game, and he said no, the pitcher calls the game. That's the guy that we need to have conviction on what's being thrown. I thought it was a fascinating way to state it.
Kwan hits it hard, backhanded by Pedersen, and he fields the ball with his glove hand there. Obviously the shoulder that he dinged up back in the first inning. He was at least able to make that play. Whether it's still bothering him, don't know. 2 down.
Pedersen is a super tough kid when you talk to people around the Minnesota program. I am sure if John Anderson asked Pedersen how he's feeling, he would say, fabulous, coach.
Yeah.
Never felt better.
Going to take a lot to get him out of the game. Here's Caden Grenier again with 2 down. Eight first-rounders are playing in the Super Regionals. Oregon State has 3 of them, and this is one of them. Caden Grenier, the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. That's pulled foul. And Runes, defensively, we have heard that Grenier is big league ready right now. The bigger question for the next level is, will his bat be good enough?
And I would say this, Clay, he's just so naturally gifted at baseball. His internal clock at shortstop, he throws accurately in a very natural way, great hands. It's just really born to play shortstop.
Another good inning for Patrick Fredrickson. Couple of strikeouts in the third. And Minnesota will come back up, trailing by 1 after 2.5. Here's a look at our bracket. North Carolina is in. The Tar Heels heading back to Omaha for the first time since 2013. They will meet the winner of this Super Regional on Saturday, June 16th. 1 week from today, 3 Eastern time on ESPN. North Carolina and Oregon State have a history. They met in the finals in both 06 and 07, the 2 national championships for Oregon State. Vanderbilt, Mississippi State going on right now on ESPN. Great crowd on hand here at Goss Stadium. They had close to 4,000 here last night.
They love college baseball in Corvallis, Oregon. This is awesome.
It'll be Jordan Kozicki, Cole McDevitt, Luke Pedersen. 8-9-1 for Minnesota, the number 14 national seed. They're the home team tonight.
And we got a pitcher's duel right now, Clay.
We welcome the audience now on ESPN2 as Arkansas has taken a 1-0 series lead on South Carolina. What a crowd at Baum Stadium, and what a crowd we have here at Goss Stadium in Corvallis. Alongside Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matfitt. Oregon State can wrap up a 7th trip to Omaha with a win here tonight and their 2nd straight. And the Beavers have a 1-0 lead on Minnesota as the Gophers, the home team tonight, get ready to hit here in the bottom of the third.
And I'll tell you, the Beavers have their hands full. This is a really nice ball game so far.
Jordan Kozicki, Cole McDevitt, Luke Pedersen, 8, 9, and 1 in the Minnesota order, the number 14 national seed. First super regional in program history for Minnesota. Bryce Femmel on the mound for the Beavers, 10 and 1 on the season. He has won his last 5 starts.
I'll tell you, Clay, look at that sun field. That you're really, the defenders are going to have to communicate a lot of pointing balls out to the outfielders. The ball's going to go from sun to shadow to sun.
Rain was an issue yesterday. Tonight, sun an issue.
Look at that. Tough look. Now, of course, that advantage would be to the home team.
The 1-1 is fouled off. Femmel has been pounding the strike zone here in the early innings. First pitch strikes to 7. The first 8 Gophers to come up.
And not just throwing it right down the middle either, Clay. You pounding the strike zone with 3 different pitches, moving his fastball in and out. Both he and Patrick Fredrickson have been really sharp early on.
Kozicki was 2 for 4 yesterday, but he strikes out here. Strikeout number 2 for Bryce Femmel.
Femmel's been around, Clay. There's nothing that wows you here. Fastball in the upper 80s. He'll sink his fastball. Good slider, but it's pitch. It's pitch over stuff. It's really just about the art of pitching. And you see it right here. Any pitch, anytime. Good breaking ball right there that gets Kozicki.
Ton of big game experience for Femmel. He pitched a complete game, 10 strikeout game last year against Vandy in the Supers. With a good outing here tonight, he can send the Beavers back to Omaha. Here's Cole McDevitt, the Minnesota first baseman, brother of Ty, the Minnesota pitching coach. He's in the 9-hole tonight as John Anderson has shuffled his lineup about a little bit from yesterday.
Same pieces, same guys, just a different order.
McDevitt was 1 for 4 yesterday, but Luke Heimlich struck him out 3 times. 3 of Heimlich's 9 Ks. That's outside, 2-1.
You can see Oregon State fans did not like that ball 1 call, but Femmel's so sharp. You've got every pitch for a strike. If you're pitching coach Nate Yeske, it's like playing a video game right now. Everything is right there for you, and Nate Yeske is as good as it gets. Calls a great game.
Nate Yeske, former Minnesota Twins minor league pitcher, National Pitching Coach of the Year last year, as Oregon State led the nation with an ERA of 1.93. Not as good this year, still impressive, 3.27.
Yep. That's a future head coach, too, Nate Yeske. He's been a big part of this.
This one's hit pretty well to left, and it's going to get down for a hit. Cole McDevitt has the second base hit for Minnesota. It comes with 1 out here in the 3rd inning, and back to the top of the order in Pedersen. Minnesota's got a pretty good contingent of fans here in Corvallis tonight.
Love it.
Luke Pedersen, back in the 1st inning, made a play going to his left in short right field, fell down on his left shoulder and wasn't able to make the play. And the trainer came out to look at that shoulder. How that's going to affect him the rest of the night, we'll have to wait and see.
I wonder if he'll bunt in this at bat. That would be one solution because he can really run.
He swings away and comes up empty. Strike 1.
And I'll tell you, that's a good sign for Minnesota, Clay. Usually when you've got a bad wing, a bad shoulder, swing and miss is where you have that intense pain. And that's a swing and miss right there. He seems fine.
3 for 17 in the national tournament under his coach John Anderson. Year number 37 on the Minnesota bench. Former Golden Gopher himself. First time coaching in the Super Regional. Foul back. 2 strikes. John Anderson was hired at age 26. He played under the legend Dick Siebert, the Chief. And you know that this is a big weekend for that man.
2 wins from Omaha. That would be just a crown jewel for him. Everything he's accomplished at Minnesota. And, of course, to pull it off here and upset one of the great teams that we've seen in college baseball in 20 years, really.
Winningest coach in Big Ten history. McDevitt at first, the 0-2 to Luke Pedersen, the Minnesota leadoff man. That's off the plate. We touched on this before the ESPN2 audience joined us, Mike. This is a very left-handed Minnesota lineup.
Sure is. 6 out of the 9. Interesting talking to third base coach Rob Fornacier. He said that he thinks they get a lot of left-handed hitters because Minnesota usually has them because of hockey. Because of the hockey. Now I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that, Clay. But it's cool. I'm in. I love left-handed hitters.
There are 20 Minnesota natives on this Minnesota roster. Many of them played hockey as well growing up. The 1-2 to Pedersen. And that one is lashed foul. Rob Fornacier, by the way, has been the right arm for John Anderson when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to assistant coaching for the last 3+ decades. Rob Fornacier is retiring at the end of the season. He's hoping it's not tonight.
And that's a big loss for college baseball, not just Minnesota. It's one of the best people you're going to meet in college baseball. Super passionate about the game. Just a great, great man.
1-2 to the senior from Minnetonka, Minnesota, Luke Pedersen. Gophers need to win tonight. That's going to flip out a play as well. Good at bat here for Pedersen.
You know, Clay, it's just we got a really nice old-fashioned baseball game with good pitching. You see there, that's the duo right there. These two men have built this program over the last 30+ years.
Helped lead Minnesota to a Big Ten regular season championship, a tournament championship. This team went down to TCU back in March and really got the country's attention when they took 2 of 3 from the Horned Frogs. And now here they are in the Super Regional for the first time. Again, the 1-2. And Pedersen just keeps grinding up there, fighting off Femmel pitches.
You know, Femmel, the out pitch right now would be fastball in. You can see that Pedersen is just hanging on for dear life on those changeups. So if you want to upset the timing, if you're Nate Yeske, you just run a fastball in. And of course, Femmel has been on point with location with every pitch. So you have a lot of options if you're calling pitches right now.
Femmel hasn't lost since March 31st. He was knocked out of the Utah game after 3 1/3. Now Pedersen chased it in the dirt. That's a strikeout. And 2 down. And McDevitt goes to second on the play. As we check our bracket presented by Capital One, the Tar Heels under Mike Fox. They're headed to Omaha for the first time since 2013 as they took out Stetson today. The first ticket punched on the road to Omaha in 2018.
Congratulations to Stetson, Clay. Sorry about that.
What a great year
for the Hatters. Really impressive.
We just saw Cal State Fullerton even up that series with Washington. And the winner of our series will take on North Carolina in Omaha. And Oregon State beat North Carolina in 2006 and 2007. So the Tar Heels would like a chance to see the Beavers and get some revenge, I would think.
Yeah, no question.
So after the wild pitch allowed the runner to get to second, man in scoring position for Minnesota for the first time. And Ben Mazenga comes up with 2 down.
This is an important moment for Minnesota. Just to, if you can tie this game up, and boy, you've played very well in the early part of this game after a very difficult first game. Just from a confidence standpoint, to tie this up would be a great momentum builder for Minnesota.
Go get it, Bryce. You got it now. Here we go.
Mazenga with a 12-game hitting streak. Struck out looking his first time up.
Bryce, on 2-6.
Nothing in 2.
The thing about facing Femmel, Clay, is you better be ready to get him from the first pitch of the at-bat. For Mazenga, he got first pitch fastball, then he gets a changeup. If you let Femmel get deep into the count and get ahead in the count, it is a long road to Mecca from there.
Bryce Femmel, California native, came to Oregon State as an infielder, but turned into an All-American on the mound right away in his freshman season. That year, he won 10 games as well. He is 10-1 this season, and he's won his last 5 starts.
Just seems to get better as the games get bigger. I'd look for the slider on the left-hander, on Mazinga's back foot. He went fastball up and away. Now you probably see slider down and in here.
The 1-2. Line drive, base hit. McDevitt waved around third. Cut off. The throw will not be in time. Now Rutschman's throw will get Mazinga. But we've got a tied ball game as Minnesota evens the score after 3. Minnesota ties it up as we go to the 4th. Welcome back to Corvallis. Alongside Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick. Oregon State blew the Gophers' doors off yesterday, but we got a ball game here tonight.
Really nice ball game. Well pitched. We knew Bryce Femmel was a big game guy. Patrick Fredrickson, the freshman from Minnesota, has been outstanding. The offensive execution's been good. Remember, the bullpen advantage is probably for the Gophers, so if they can keep this game intact, I like them late.
It'll be Nick Madrigal, Trevor Larnach, Adley Rutschman. This is Oregon State's Murderers Row. 3, 4, and 5. Madrigal, the #1 pick of the White Sox this year. Got a hit and stole a base in the first inning. He'll wrap this one to the shortstop, Vavra. Also a draft pick this year, 3rd round of the Rockies, 1 down. We go to the studio for an update.
Except the right fielder, number 11, Trevor Larnach.
All right, Schicker, thank you very much. I'll tell you what, Gary Henderson has done an amazing job with a team that seems destined to defy the odds this year, Mississippi State.
If they get to Omaha, it would be like that Leicester City story in the English Premier League, where just there's no way it can happen. They fired their head coach after the first weekend of the season, and now this club could get to Omaha. You're right. What a job by Gary Henderson and his coaching staff.
Here's Larnach now for Oregon State. Gary Henderson, an Oregon native, former pitching coach here for the Beavers. And it doesn't seem that he's in the plans for Mississippi State as far as a permanent head coach, but what a job he has done in the interim.
That whole staff, Jake Gautreau, his hitting coach, Mike Brown, those guys have done a fabulous job. I'll tell you, Clay, this is, Patrick Fredrickson had one job. Can you keep the game intact to get it to the bullpen? And it did not seem likely. In spite of how good Fredrickson's season has been, this is a whole different animal taking on the Oregon State Beavers, but he has been fantastic.
He's retired 6 in a row. This is down to Larnach. 3-1. Trevor Larnach.
Danger zone here. Larnach is a guy that likes to go to left center field. So Fredrickson is probably throwing a changeup here. If it's elevated, Larnach will be sitting back and will look to do damage the opposite way.
Boy, there's a sharply hit ball to right center field. Larnach, big turn. He's going to try for 2. Throw will be late. Second hit for Trevor Larnach. Will begin his Twins career as soon as Oregon State's season is over.
It's the beauty of sitting there thinking other way. It gets middle in, he turns it.
Everything has come together for Trevor Larnach this year. Had a foot injury a couple of years ago, kept him to 51 at-bats. Last year, had a good season, but only 3 home runs. The Triple Crown numbers, and look at the doubles. 14 doubles now for Larnach. He is just having an amazing season. He's in scoring position for Rutschman.
And again, if you're Frederickson, these innings have to be 1 run or nothing. You can't let the Beavers just have that explosion that they typically do to teams where it looks like it's going fine. The next thing you know, they've put up 3 or 4.
Rutschman grounded out to the first baseman back in the first. Native of Sherwood, Oregon, just south of Portland. Grew up playing baseball and football at Sherwood High School. This guy holds the Oregon high school record for longest field goal, 63 yards. So good that the Beavers had him come onto the program and kick 2 years ago, but now just concentrating on baseball. There's his head coach, Pat Casey, also an Oregon native. Who's made 5 College World Series trips and has 2 national titles under his belt. 2-1.
Well, you can see Frederickson getting a little bothered here. This is a kid who's a freshman who's from the Pacific Northwest. Has done a really nice job so far, but I'm concerned about the body language there, Clay. This is a team that you cannot lose focus with, or else it's a 3 spot in a blink of an eye. So Frederickson's starting to kind of battle with home plate umpire Darrell Arnold here, and that is not a winning battle. Cannot fight City Hall.
5 hits for Oregon State. Larnach at second. The pitch wrapped foul by Rutschman.
You know, you just worry about that sometimes, Clay. You know, Patrick Frederickson is from the Pacific Northwest. He was not recruited by Oregon State, really by any of the schools up here. So you worry about a kid maybe having a little too much of a chip on his shoulder back in his home area, kind of an I'll show you. But, you know, Frederickson has been really, really sharp so far tonight.
Here we go, 3-5-8!
Hit a ton to right, but it's going to be foul. Man, Rutschman has hit some balls hard the last couple of days.
And the thing, Clay, is the pitch-to-pitch adjustments are frightening. I love the sign. You know, for Frederickson, he threw a good changeup to Rutschman. He was out in front. Then he backs it up with another changeup, and Rutschman hits a missile just foul. So if you're Frederickson, you start to run out of options for pitch selection.
68 runs batted in on the year for Rutschman. The most in the Pac-12. And only Michael Conforto has more RBIs in a single season at Oregon State. 76 in 2012. Jumping out.
You know,
3-2.
If I'm Ty McDevitt, Clay, I might go out to the mound here pretty quickly, because your job, if you're Frederickson, was, can you get us 15 outs? Can you keep this game live for 5 innings? Don't let the Beavers explode it on us. And even though it's only 49 pitches, these have been very stressful pitches for Frederickson.
You mentioned it before, Runes. That bullpen for Minnesota well rested. Only starter Reggie Meyer and Nick Lackney pitched yesterday, but they don't want to go to it too early. Way outside, walked him. 2 on, 1 out, and Gretler coming up. What an offensive onslaught it has been in the national tournament so far for Oregon State, Runes.
Yeah, and remember, Clay, they had LSU come into their regional, who was as hot as anybody. 20 extra base hits, 7 home runs. We think of this as a team of little guys because of Madrigal and Grenier. 22 2-out RBIs. I mean, it's really They just bulldozed everybody. They have not had a close game yet in the postseason.
Oregon State hit a couple of home runs yesterday, 59 now on the year as a team, and we're going to get a trip to the mound from Ty McDevitt, the Minnesota pitching coach.
This is a great visit by Ty McDevitt because that's the challenge with Oregon State. You think everything's going fine, and then it just happens. Next thing you know, they put up a 4 spot. And Fredrickson has really been sharp. He's made great pitches. But again, you start to catch him staring at the umpire and starting to get a little fidgety. This is a great reset right here.
He had retired 6 in a row before the single and the walk. Now back in the second inning, Runes, when Gretler, who's going to hit next, got the leadoff single, Fredrickson bared down and got a double play ball. And I'm sure that's the kind of thing McDevitt's reminding him of. Hey, you've been in a tight spot or two already in this ball game, and you've worked around it. Find that place again.
I wonder if Pat Casey doesn't go with some action right here, Clay. Now, Gretler hit to your point, hit a missile up the middle in his first at bat, but it's a double play situation. Gretler's not a great runner, so do you think about a hit and run or a bunt, or do you just give Gretler the green light, see if he can't put a ball in the gap?
There's Larnach at second. Rutschman's at first for Gretler now with a 13-game hitting streak.
Boy, that's a big take. And you got Gretler, who's a senior, big spot in the game, not over anxious, and you spit on the breaking ball in the dirt right there. And now again, Pat Casey's got every option he wants. You can run a hit and run here. You can just let Gretler swing.
Gretler doesn't have the star power of a Madrigal or a Larnach, but he has been a glue guy for this Oregon State program. Does everything well. The 1-0. Called strike on the outside corner.
There's the sign sequence for Pat Casey right there. He's got those 4 lines of tape on the rail. That's part of the sign system. I have no idea what the signs are, Clay. Couldn't help you there.
You're not supposed to.
That's true. Was never a great sign spy. Some people are so good at that. That's not one of my gifts. Big spot in the game right here, Clay.
2 on, 1 out, the 1-1 pitch. Line drive. Pedersen with the double play. Fredrickson, 2 double plays to get out of trouble today. So here comes Minnesota to the plate. Terran Vavra in the 4th. He's 0 for 1 with a fly out to center. Vavra, leading hitter on this Minnesota team. 3rd round pick of the Rockies, 96th overall.
Just a great baseball player, complete hitter. Talk to opposing coaches that have faced Minnesota, and as much respect as they have for the whole lineup Minnesota has, this is the guy everybody circles. Can go foul pole to foul pole, can hit for power, incredible baseball IQ. He's really Minnesota's Nick Madrigal.
Yeah. He came up with runners at the corners and 2 out in the 3rd yesterday. I thought it was one of Minnesota's best chances yesterday to get something going against Luke Heimlich. Drove it to the gap in right center, but Trevor Larnach, the Twins draft pick, made a nice catch and snuffed it out. It's 2-2.
Home plate umpire Darrell Arnold's really been tested because both pitchers have been excellent. And a guy like Femmel will test the fringes of the strike zone, see what exactly he can get. Darrell Arnold's been very good, though, very consistent so far tonight.
Line drive to center. It's going to get down in front of Quan, who was shading toward the gap. And Vavra finds a spot on the green. Leadoff man is on here in the Minnesota 4th. We're going to talk to John Anderson coming up next half inning. An interview with the Minnesota head coach. 8-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, winning that award again this season. Toby Hansen now. This is a great spot here for Minnesota with Hansen, who's been really tearing the cover off the ball in the national tournament. out, hit him. 2 on, nobody out, and Micah Coffey coming up. Got him on the foot.
One of the first pitches from Femmel today, just poorly executed, just yanks his fastball. I wonder if Nate Yeske doesn't come out to the mound right here.
This is the first real tough spot for Bryce Femmel tonight. He's at the 50 pitch mark here in the 4th inning. Nobody out, Coffey up. He's 0 for 1. He popped out to the 3rd baseman. His only time up.
Wonder, again, Minnesota is a good bunting team. I don't know that Micah Coffey's the guy that they'll do it with.
Here we go, Bryce!
Micah Coffey was the hero for Minnesota a week ago tonight in that extra inning win against UCLA. He does bump, gets it down. Femmel slips coming off the mound. The 3rd baseman, Gretler, makes the play. But Vavra goes to 3rd. Hansen's in scoring position. And there's 1 down for Minnesota. Well done by Coffey.
Femmel getting a little ahead of himself. You just hope he's more embarrassed than injured after a play like that, Clay.
Well, yesterday, that approach on the mound was extremely slick.
Yes.
Because it rained throughout the balance of the game.
So if you're Eli Wilson right here, you need to be ready to hit early in the count. Femmel does not have a strikeout pitch per se. It's just the craftiness. So if you're Wilson, first pitch you can handle, get on it.
Wilson singled his first time up. He's behind in the count, 0-1. Wilson came to the Golden Gopher program out of Seattle. John Anderson made him a catcher immediately because he knew how good his dad had been when he was there. He's worked out to be a great catcher for the Golden Gophers, just like his dad, and he's going to be aboard, hit by a pitch. Bases loaded for Minnesota. And Alex Boxwell comes up with 1 out. There's Nate Yeske. We'll see if he comes out.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if he doesn't come out. Now, again, for Femmel right there, he doesn't execute the pitch, but he had a base open. He's trying to go fastball in right there. Oh, wow, Coach Casey coming out. That, Clay, is unusual.
What does it mean?
It means that I think Coach Case does not like the tone of the game, really the momentum of the game. If it's a pitching conversation, then Nate Yeske is certainly coming out. This is Pat Casey wants to speak to his whole club. And again, ground ball, and they come off the field. So there's a lot going on right now.
Mike, how big of a moment could this be in the entire series?
Well, think about it. The job for Patrick Fredrickson was just don't let this game explode on us in the first 5 innings. How about if Fredrickson one-ups it and says, hey, I'll get you a lead to our bullpen? I mean, if you're Minnesota, this is a proud club that's won a ton of games this year. You take a lead right here, now you're in it. It's happening.
There's Fredrickson. A smile on his face right now. Oregon State, the only remaining team in the national tournament that has not trailed in this postseason. Minnesota with Vavra at 3rd. Toby Hansen in scoring position. And Wilson's aboard.
It's where Femmel's just got to find a pitch he can trust. Maybe it's the breaking ball here. Remember, Clay, Oregon State has got an elite defense. Femmel does not have to do this by himself.
The 1-0 to Boxwell. 2 balls, no strikes.
Boy, that's a great take. You just see the veteran poise of Minnesota right there. Boxwell in a big spot, not over anxious and expanding the strike zone.
Boxwell has 6 homers on the year, including homers in each game against UCLA last weekend in Minneapolis. Minnesota has one grand slam this season.
This is the pitch for Boxwell to get. Femmel has to give in to you right now.
2-0. He was cutting away and fouls it back. Probably swung at ball 3.
I like the intent, though. You know, this is, you got to believe the percentages tell you Femmel's going to throw a strike. The difference is that now I think Femmel is going to, he trusts his off-speed stuff so much. Your Boxwell, you're probably getting a curveball or a changeup right here.
Things have come so easy for this Oregon State team this year. The fans haven't had call to be nervous yet this postseason. The 2-1 to Boxwell. Swung on, lifted down the line, left field. Long run. It's going to get out of play. Right on top of the clubhouse down there in left field.
All right.
Hey, souvenir.
Love it.
Stocking caps, coats, mittens. Proper attire here at Goss Stadium tonight. They had to bring in temporary seating in left field to accommodate the fans again this year. Around 4,000 in attendance. Swung on and mixed. 2 down.
Boxwell just gets a little over anxious. You can see Femmel really misses his spot right here. Rutschman is set up in, and he sails it up and away. And that's when you're a pitcher like Femmel that throws a lot of strikes, sometimes you get the benefit of the doubt from hitters. Boy, this is huge right here, Clay. I mean, if Femmel wiggles out of this, this place is going to go nuts.
2 down for Kazuki. He was a strikeout victim last inning. As the train rolls by here in Corvallis.
Femmel is really vulnerable right now, Clay. I mean, the fastball, he's spraying all over the place. He tried to go breaking ball there, couldn't find it.
How cool is this ballpark?
Love it. Right in the center of campus. Gotta love it.
Bases loaded for the Big Ten Tournament MVP, Jordan Kazuki, the sophomore out of Minneapolis. Ball and a strike.
See, that's just pitching right there. He goes first pitch breaking ball and doesn't find it. Nate Yeske has the courage and the confidence in Femmel. They go breaking ball again. This is big boy baseball, Clay. It's fun when the game is played at this level.
Kazuki had 2 hits yesterday. A hit would give Minnesota a lead in this series for the first time. Is working that gum hard. 2-1. And Femmel was real sharp through the first 3 innings. Things are starting to slip here in the 4th.
Yeah, you just think about a golfer when you just think you're having a great round. Next thing you know, you're just spraying the golf ball all over the course. That's Femmel right now. And if you're Nate Yeske, it's hard to know what to call because there's no consistent pitch. It's like the joystick of the remote control is broken. But if you're Femmel, this is the separator. Can you get out of here without your best stuff?
The 2-1. The breaking pitch, and Kazuki didn't chase. Nowhere to put him. And McDevitt, who singled his last time up, is on deck.
And I'll tell you, Kazuki's got power, Clay. This is really dangerous. Yeske's looking at that chart. There's no smiley faces coming back at him. This is tough calling pitches right now.
McDevitt, not a prototypical number 9 hitter, hoping to get a chance here in the 4th. Called strike 2. Right on the outside corner. Darrell Arnold giving Femmel the benefit of the doubt.
It is a really good pitch. I don't know that it's on the plate, but boy, that's 3-1. Talk about not giving in. I mean, it's borderline. Well received by Rutschman.
That's another thing that makes Rutschman so good. 20th pitch. of the inning forthcoming. Walked him. And Minnesota leads for the first time in their series, and Oregon State trails for the first time in the national tournament.
First baseman, number 10, Cole McDevitt.
And I'll tell you, Clay, if you're Bryce Femmel, you're not out of the woods yet. I mean, you still got bases loaded. Remember, McDevitt's been a middle-of-the-order bat for most of this season. And if you're Bryce Femmel, you're not feeling terribly comfortable out there. You just don't have great command of anything at this point.
Base hit for McDevitt his last time up. Breaking ball to the Minnesota first baseman is outside. Cole McDevitt has the only Minnesota Grand Slam this season. It came back during the non-conference portion of the schedule. Hit a bases-loaded round tripper against UW-Milwaukee.
I love that visit by Nick Madrigal. I know people get upset when the player-only conference is for pace of play, but this is a great baseball game. Who cares about pace of play? This is about, a star player going to settle his pitcher down, because your guy is struggling. Femmel is really uncomfortable right now.
There's another indication that he's a little rattled. Toby Hansen at third base for the Gophers. Eli Wilson at second. Kazuki, who walked, is at first. And a little rain starting to fall here in Corvallis. The pitch to McDevitt. Off the plate, 2-0. And the Oregon State bullpen is starting to crank. And that's Grant Gambrell.
This may sound crazy, Clay, but I think if I'm Nate Yeski, I'm throwing a changeup right here. And it's right on right, but the fastball and the curveball just are not a strike right now. And you know that McDevitt's swinging.
And he swings here and pops it up on a play. It's 2-1. We played through the rain through the lion's share of the game yesterday. And now that we're underway, it's going to take a lot to shut this thing down. And this field drains water so well. Artificial turf everywhere except the mound. 2-1 to McDevitt. Hit in the air. Short center. Quan started back now, trots in. He'll make the catch. And Minnesota leaves him loaded. But they break ahead for the first time in this series. 2-1 after 4. We go to the fifth inning. 2-1 Minnesota as John Anderson, the Gophers head coach, in his 37th year now, joins us from the dugout. Coach, you've got Oregon State down in this series for the first time. How were you able to get to Bryce Femmel last inning?
Well, I thought we did a little better job up there of tracking pitches and not chasing, expanding the zone, other than Boxwell there on the 3-2 pitch. But, we got a couple hit batters in there. But got to get a big hit in that situation, try to get some space. But the kids are battling and they're competing. That's all you can ask for.
Hey, John, this is a big assignment for anybody. Oregon State's offense, this environment. Boy, Patrick Fredrickson has been fantastic. What have you seen from your angle?
Well, once again, I think he's found a way to make the big pitch. We got the double play ball there the last inning and got some momentum from that and put it in our offense. But, he's fearless. He'll attack the zone, and if he get the ball to sink a little bit and use his changeup, he'll be fine. But he's a competitor.
John, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John
Anderson. As Patrick Fredrickson faces the bottom third of the Oregon State order. Novak, Anderson, Taylor popped up. He's going to get out of play. A ball and a strike. Novak hit into a double play in the second inning. One of two double plays turned for Minnesota in this game, Mike.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we thought Pat Casey would be a little bit more green lightish with the offense. The base running mistakes for Oregon State tonight have been kind of over aggressive mistakes, not mistakes because they're trying to steal a base or hit and run. I would be surprised if Oregon State doesn't go more to their bunting game and their running game as this game progresses. Fredrickson's a 6'6" freshman. If you're Pat Casey, you're probably thinking, how do we get him off the mound and run around?
That's off the plate, 2-2. Mississippi State and Vanderbilt continuing their series in Music City tonight. The exact same time the CMA Awards are going on in Nashville. That town is abuzz. We're going to get an update from Music City in just a bit here. The rain continues to fall in Corvallis. The 2-2. Down and in. And the last thing Fredrickson wants to do here is walk the leadoff man in the fifth.
You can see Fredrickson, I really love the way he competes on the mound, talking to himself. It's only 58 pitches, but he's been pressed. At Oregon State, it's never going to be an easy 58 pitches against these guys.
The payoff. Walked him. Let's get an update to the studio with Matt.
Fielder number 29, Jack Anderson.
Yeah. Mississippi State, a team that has been battling themselves. Of course, the SEC West, the balance of the SEC all year against all odds. 1 win away from Omaha. Man on. Nobody out. Jack Anderson at the plate for Oregon State here in the 5th inning. As the Beavers are trailing for the first time in the postseason.
There is no question you're getting some type of action here. You've got a senior at first base and a senior in the box. You're going to get a bunt or a hit and run.
Jack Anderson came to Oregon State in 2014 as a walk-on. Didn't make the team until 2015. And those are the kind of smart, perseverant players that Pat Casey loves to have around and have helped to make this a consistently good program here in the Pacific Northwest. Pulls the bat back, 2-0.
You know, I think if I'm Ty McDevitt, I might consider running back out to the mound here. And you see your star player, Vavra, is going to head out there. I love this visit because things are speeding up on Fredrickson here. And Vavra's saying, hey, they're giving you an out. Just get it in the strike zone and take it.
There's Patrick's dad, Jay, in attendance here tonight. Of course, the family from Gig Harbor, Washington, just outside of Seattle. Two and one. Patrick's mom, Barbara, went to a Big Ten school. Jay went to a Big Ten school, so it wasn't that odd for Patrick to head to Big Ten country.
Boy, they've got to be awfully proud for him to be Freshman of the Year and Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. Just unheard of.
Top of the 5th inning. 2-1 Minnesota. The 2-1 pitch to Anderson will wait as Novak goes sliding into first.
Novak was a great runner early in his career. Now, he's had some injuries and not the same runner, but that is the book on Fredrickson, is that you can run on him. UCLA ran quite frequently on him last week in the regional.
Novak sat out all of last year with a knee injury. Fairly safe lead away from first. The 2-1. The bunt is down, and it's going to stay fair. Fredrickson has no play. The freshman had his hand on it, but couldn't field it cleanly. 2 on, nobody out for the Beavers.
Sometimes it just, there's nothing you can do defensively. This bunt is perfect. You know, it's right on the line. It's actually not necessarily a good bunt because it's so close to the line, but it stays fair. And this may sound crazy, Clay, but if I'm Minnesota, I'm getting my bullpen hot right now.
And it is.
There you go. You got to do it.
Meyer, probably the best pitcher on the staff. He is the closer for Minnesota, but they may need him early tonight.
It's an electric arm. I cannot wait to see Max Meyer. You know, if you've seen Tennessee Tech and their great closer, Ethan Roberts, it's a similar type of guy where very athletic. He was a high school shortstop, and it is an absolute lightning bolt for an arm. Big cut fastball and a great slider.
Now the number 9 man, Zach Taylor, is showing sacrifice. Can't get it down. Strike 1. Taylor struck out looking his last time up. He's got 6 hits in the postseason. He's been the primary first baseman this year, especially over the last month, even though he does some catching. Has a chance to tie this game up with a base hit.
Vulnerable defense there, but you're absolutely bunting if you're Oregon State. Make Fredrickson field his spot.
Can't get it down, so now it's 0-2. Does the bunt stay on?
I think Pat Casey's going to keep the bunt on here, because what you don't want is a double play. Even a failed bunt, you lose less momentum than a double play right here, and Taylor is a first baseman, remember. He is a double play candidate. I think you're absolutely bunting again. Worst case scenario, if you fail the bunt, you just turn it over to the top of the lineup.
Now Micah Coffey, the senior third baseman, communicating with the pitcher, and Cole McDevitt over at first. They're on the grass, or the turf as it were.
If you're Minnesota, the play is at first base right here. Novak is a former center fielder. He's a good runner. I wouldn't risk trying to get the lead out at third base. I would just take the out they're giving you.
Taylor squares. Now pulls the bat back, swung on and missed. And it's a big out for the freshman Patrick Fredrickson. 1 down and back to the top of the order. Pat Casey just shaking his head over there. Missed opportunity for the Beavers.
What's interesting now, Clay, is you can still bunt if you're Oregon State, because Quan is such a good guy at bunting for a hit. Coffey has got a lot on his plate at third base. He's got to worry about a stolen base. He really can't crash on Quan for a bunt. I think if I'm Stephen Quan, I'm entertaining bunt again.
He had an RBI sacrifice yesterday. Line drive, base hit. Quan swings away. Novak is going to come around third, and we're tied up. Hard hit back up the middle for Stephen Quan. His 41st run batted in. Third of the Super Regional.
And that's the thing about Stephen Quan, Clay. He's not just a pesky little leadoff hitter. He's a good player. This is an RBI situation. Most leadoff hitters take a strike. Stephen Quan, that's acting like a 3-hole hitter right there. You hammer the first pitch, get your RBI. That is really a big part of the heart and soul of this Oregon State club. If you're going to stop them, you've got to stop Stephen Quan. That's easy to say.
And now Patrick Fredrickson faces the first of 3 consecutive first-round picks in this Oregon State order. Caden Grenier, who's 1 for 2. Grenier swings at the first pitch, lofts it to left center. Mazenga will come over to the gap, make the catch. Anderson tags, but then thinks better of it and stays put. 2 down, and Madrigal will come up.
Fredrickson deserves a lot of credit. I don't love that decision by Grenier. You chase a breaking ball first pitch with a runner in scoring position, but you got to credit Patrick Fredrickson. Each time it looks like it's going to cave in on him, he just keeps battling.
We're going to talk with Pat Casey coming up next half inning. We've seen him wear his emotions on his sleeve here in the first 4.5 innings. He'll be fun to talk to tonight.
No doubt.
All right, here we go.
Nick Madrigal with a chance to impact the game.
A single and a stolen base tonight as the rain intensifies here in Corvallis. Fouls it off his foot. Nick Madrigal, taken by the White Sox in the first round, missed 26 games with a broken wrist, suffered in late February, came back in mid-April. He has been terrific since coming back. Last year's Pac-12 Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Would have challenged for both of those awards again this year if it hadn't been for that injury. There's a White Sox fan in attendance. I wonder if he bought that hat after Madrigal was taken in the first round.
Yeah, probably hard to find a good selection of White Sox hats in Corvallis, Clay. Have to do that one online.
Yeah. Micah Coffey, who's at third base for Minnesota, was also taken by the White Sox. He was selected in the 30th round. The 0-1. Madrigal pops it up down the line right field. Kazuki has it in his glove, and that is the end of the inning. But we've got a tie ball game now, and we're going to talk to Pat Casey next. 2-2, bottom of 5. The rainbow is out as the rain has stopped. And Pat Casey joins us from the Oregon State dugout.
Case, Femmel really good early and struggled a little bit last inning. What do you need from him, and who are the first couple options out of the pen for you tonight?
Well, you know, it was so early that we didn't have a plan there. You know, I mean, he's been so good. The one thing he does is throw strikes, and so that was kind of caught us off guard. You know, we got a couple guys we can go to. We could go to Pierce that early. You know, we got Gambrell, who's been a starter. We could go to you know, one of our lefties. So, you know, there's a lot of options here. You know, the guy, we've had some opportunities to move some runners and haven't done it. And haven't got some good swings in certain situations. But as you guys both know, it's going to come down to pitching.
Yeah, the Minnesota rookie Patrick Fredrickson has pitched around some trouble. Overall, though, your offensive approach, how have you seen it tonight?
Well, it's been real good for certain guys and then a little early for some other guys, you know. I mean, he's tough. I mean, look at his numbers. They're incredible. So, you know, I think we've done a pretty good job there. We should have another run on the board. We kind of jacked one there maybe in the first inning. And, you know, we just got to stick with it, and it's not an easy game. And you know, these guys are good that we're playing on the other side of the diamond, and you know, they scrap, they fight, they're talented. So, you know, we're talking about a guy 9-0 that is MVP of their league, and you know, we've done okay. We got to finish. You know, we got to get some things done with you guys on base.
All right, Pat. Thank
you,
guys.
Sir. Thank you, guys.
Pat Casey. 5 College World Series trips and 2 national titles, all since 2005 under Pat Casey. Ground ball. Luke Pedersen with a base hit to lead off the Minnesota 5th against Bryce Femmel.
This is a big inning for Bryce Femmel after a rough 5th. And boy, it's or I should say a rough 4th. What Pat Casey just said there was interesting. I mean, the struggles kind of came out of thin air.
Yeah.
He was so sharp, and the next thing you know, couldn't find it.
That's hit number 5 for the Gophers tonight. Ben Mazenga comes up. He now has a 13-game hitting streak. You can see the last 2 innings for Femmel have been challenging. Luke Pedersen, 13 stolen bases on the season. Alex Boxwell leads the Gophers in that category. He has 21 on the year. This is a team with speed at the top of the order and near the bottom of the order.
Boy, Clay, I'm gonna get way ahead of myself here. And there's Vavra on deck, their best guy. If Minnesota can get a lead, they have the better bullpen. When you talk about swing and miss stuff, Max Meyer. And then if Minnesota can win this game, Clay, Oregon State will start a true freshman tomorrow in Kevin Abel, who has been really hot lately but has had a very up and down year. There's our guy,
Max Meyer. He is sitting down at the moment. He was cranking earlier. He's keeping that arm warm. He's got a blanket on it. 16 saves on the year. He may be called on in a non-save situation. Rutschman came up ready to fire. Driving back to the bag is Pedersen.
Where do you see this guy? It is a cut fastball at 93 to 95 and a hard slider at 87 to 88 miles an hour. It is big league stuff.
He got the win against UCLA a week ago tonight in that 3-2 win in 10 innings. He pitched 3 shutout frames against the Bruins, allowed just 1 hit and had 6 strikeouts. He was fantastic.
That size not a misprint, Clay. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's 6 foot 165 with a thunderbolt for an arm.
Counter's now 2-1 to Ben Mazenga, the number 2 hitter in this Minnesota order. The Gophers have scored in each of the last 2 innings, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. They had Oregon State down for a brief time, but the Beavers were able to tie it back up last half. They're going both barrels in the Oregon State pen. Gambrell and Chamberlain, righty and a lefty.
And if you're Fennell right here, Clay, it's the next 2 hitters are pretty clear cut. Take the out from Mazinga, and you're going to intentionally, unintentionally, however you say that, walk Vavra. You're not letting Vavra drive in the go-ahead run. So the plan is pretty clear for the next 2 hitters, but you got to be able to execute.
Great run. Nobody covering first. They got him. Madrigal got over there late, but just in the nick of time. Pedersen moves over to second. Oregon State lucky to get 1 out.
I know Madrigal is fast, Clay, but I have no idea how this became an out. Taylor vacates, which is really where it became a problem. Oh, because he dove. Does Madrigal's foot on the base? He's safe. Madrigal bare hands the baseball, but I don't think his left foot is on the base there yet.
It's hard to tell because Madrigal has white shoes and kind of blended in with the bag.
Such an unusual play.
Yeah. And if Femmel doesn't flip it with his glove, there's no chance. Popped up by Vavra. He throws the bat away in disgust. Kwan comes underneath it. No tag. 2 down.
This is hard on an umpire because it's such an unusual play. You're trying to see if Madrigal's got the ball, if Mazinga gets his hand in there, and then it becomes Mazinga's hand versus Madrigal's foot. That's a very difficult call for an umpire. So you got to see, does he catch it? Left foot versus left hand. I think he's out. That's an unbelievable call. I think he's out, Clay.
Well, there is replay in the Super Regional round, and there will be in Omaha. Replay review, but that is not one of the plays that can be reviewed. Just in case if you were wondering if they should have gone to the monitor on that, but it's a moot point.
Boy, that's a great job by first base umpire David Savage. That is a really difficult play. Boy, it was just hard to follow with your eyes. Madrigal, it's a glove flip, bare hand catch by the fielder, and a runner diving into first base.
Veteran umpiring crew, David Savage, the crew chief. Toby Hansen up there, hit by a pitch his last time up.
If I'm Nate Yeski, I've got real concerns with Femmel right now. He just can't find anything. And you've got the go-ahead run in scoring position right now. Femmel's the guy you trust because he's gotten himself out of so many pickles so many times, but he's just not commanding the baseball right now.
Pedersen in scoring position for the Gophers. 2-2 game. The pitch to Hansen. It's off the plate. It's 3-0 to the senior from Delano, Minnesota.
He did hit that spot. I think if you're Nate Yeski, if Femmel walks Hansen, you are going to go get the left-hander Chamberlain to face Coffey.
Walked him. That's the second walk for Femmel. He's also hit a couple of batters That's why the bullpen has been active. Well, this is Dylan Pierce now warming up for the first time for the Beavers.
And that's, as Pat Casey said, that's really more their long man.
We've seen a myriad of guys out there for Oregon State here the last couple of innings. But Femmel is still on the mound, the starter for Oregon State tonight, with a 10-1 record. Great numbers, Runes, and he was not drafted. A junior, certainly draft eligible, but all 30 major league teams passed on him.
I'm really surprised to see Femmel in here. I think this is more because of the trust he's built because of his career, because it's not that he's executing a bunch of pitches right now.
Micah Coffey at the plate, puts it into right field, base hit. Pedersen being waved around. Here comes the throw. Cut off. Minnesota leads again. It's 3-2.
What a great approach by Micah Coffey.
Pitcher number 4, Eli Wilson.
Go for faithful. You know, you got a vulnerable pitcher, get the first thing you can handle in an RBI situation.
Micah Coffey with his 34th run batted in. The senior has been so good in the postseason.
It's a proud group play. Just knew the Gophers were going to throw their best punch tonight, and they have been fantastic.
Now Eli Wilson, breaking ball way outside. As Femmel is seemingly at the end of his rope.
It is, if there is a vulnerability for Oregon State, it's not a super deep pitching staff. There's really 5 main guys, and that's where Femmel not making it out of the 5th inning, that doesn't really work in the formula.
His pitching coach, Nate Yeske, the La Crosse, Wisconsin native. He has friends and family in the Twin Cities. Eli Wilson at the plate for Minnesota as they have gone back in front by a run. They have scored in each of the last 3 innings now against Bryce Femmel, the starter for Oregon State, who hasn't lost since late March. Another one out of the zone, 2-0.
You know, this Minnesota lineup is so, it's a veteran group and they're talented, and you keep getting in these bad counts, Clay, and you're playing with fire.
Dylan Pierce continues to warm up for the Beavers. 2-0. 3-0. Femmel loaded the bases last inning, walked in a run.
And I'll tell you the other issue for Femmel, he's lost his command so badly that it does appear that Darrell Arnold's strike zone has shrunk up on him. You know, that happens. You stop getting the benefit of the doubt.
He was working ahead early, not so much anymore. Now a strike. It's 3-1 to Eli Wilson.
The lead for Minnesota is nice, but boy, if you're Minnesota, you'd really like to start to try and put some space between you and Oregon State.
And now full count.
You're going to have runners moving, Clay. A ball down the line, a ball in the gap, could score 2 here.
The Gophers got whacked in game 1 of their Super Regional 8-1 last night. They've got the number 3 national seed down by a run, and their 10-win pitcher on the ropes. Called strike 3. Darrell Arnold, the home plate umpire, rings up Wilson, and Femmel gets out of it, down a run. Presented by Capital One. Alongside former Notre Dame star Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Mathick. We remind you that on Sunday Night Baseball, Yankees and Mets, the Subway Series. It's going to be good. We'll have the finale for you. Yankees taking on the Mets at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Jacoby Ellsbury, former Oregon State Beaver, of course, member of the Yankees. Michael Conforto plays for the Mets. Two of the best to ever don a Beavers jersey here in Corvallis.
Beavers everywhere. That's awesome. When the guys give back to their programs like that, that is awesome to see.
4, 5, and 6 here for the Beavers as they trail again by a run here in the 6th. Larnach, Rutschman, and Gretler against the rookie Patrick Fredrickson, the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. Check swing. Kevin Sweeney, the third base umpire, says it's ball 1. How about Larnach? 2 for 2. The Twins draft pick, taken 20th overall on Monday, has a single and a double.
6'4" lefty with leverage and a great approach. Uses the entire field. How about Patrick Fredrickson, Clay? I mean, he is dealing right now. And the poise just is striking, and nothing seems to bug him.
One and two. He likes this cool, crisp, moist Pacific Northwest air. He's from Gig Harbor, Washington. His dad driving down. He's in attendance here tonight in Corvallis.
That's great. I guess there was one person from Minnesota that was excited when they saw the draw that they were going to have to deal with Oregon State. Team Fredrickson, home game. Hardest job in sports right there, Clay. Parent.
Being a dad, yeah.
Oh,
parent, sure.
Torture.
The 2-2. Fouled off. This is the part of the order where Minnesota pitchers, including Fredrickson, have struggled, and any team would. 3, 4, 5 hitters, 4, 5, 6 hitters. The meat of this Oregon State order this weekend and throughout the NCAA tournament has gone gangbusters.
We'll see what kind of adjustments Oregon State. Fredrickson has really slowed them down with his changeup. And you see Larnach in this at-bat swung through a fastball because of that. And this is where John Anderson's got a really nice card to play. Fredrickson's slowing these bats down with a changeup. Max Meyer is going to come in and throw absolute gasoline. That is high-octane stuff.
There's Meyer. Just missed off the plate. It's a walk. Leadoff man is on in the 6th for Oregon State.
Catcher, number 35,
Ty McDevitt and John Anderson are not happy with the home plate umpire, Daryl Arnold. Words exchanged, and they're still being exchanged.
Especially after their guy got punched out to end the last inning on a pitch that was at the bottom of the strike zone. And you could hear Ty McDevitt saying, "That's not down." I'll tell you, I like that Daryl Arnold, do the warning thing, but give them some air. These coaches have earned that. Give them a chance to vent just a bit. That's well handled by Daryl Arnold right there.
Now time is called as Eli Wilson and the rest of the Minnesota infield comes to talk to the freshman Patrick Fredrickson. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts for Fredrickson as Meyer gets back up in the Minnesota bullpen.
And Meyer's a guy that can extend. This is not a 3-out closer. He'll get you 6 outs, 9 outs. He's a guy that they've trained to extend.
And that's what we saw from him a week ago tonight against UCLA at Siebert Field in Minneapolis. Went 3 innings, 3 shutout innings against the Bruins, and he factored as the winning pitcher.
I'm telling you, Clay, I'm giddy, so I'm so excited to see Meyer come in this game.
And you may see him soon. John Anderson walking out.
I think if you're John Anderson, you get him. Fredrickson's giving you a heck of an effort. You walk the leadoff hitter, and you don't want to leave this regional and you didn't have Meyer in leverage situations. This is your best card. You play it right now.
16 saves on the year. The Minnesota closer is coming in early tonight. Pitching change in the 6th. proud papa Jay Fredrickson as his son Patrick exits this game for Minnesota. You know what? How about the Oregon State fans even rising in appreciation?
His son did an awesome job. That's tremendous. Boy, that's really cool.
And now Max Meyer comes in for Minnesota. He was absolutely terrific against UCLA last week.
I mean, it's thunderbolts, Clay. That's a cut fastball. It's jumping all over the joint. It's going to be 95, 96. You're going to see a hard slider in the upper 80s. He's 6 foot 165 with a lightning fast arm.
The true freshman from Woodbury, Minnesota, a suburb of St. Paul. First team all Big Ten. Tied for the single season program record, 16 saves this year.
And if you're an Oregon State hitter, Clay, you better get that changeup from Fredrickson out of your mind. You better get your bat started because this stuff is real that's coming at you right now.
And he's going to face the absolutely terrific catcher for Oregon State, Adley Rutschman, to start. Big swing and a miss.
I mean, that is big time. That's an 86-mile-an-hour alien slider.
Rutschman is 0 for 1 with a walk. Warnick at first. Strike 2.
I mean, if you're Rutschman, this is a handful of an at-bat already. He just throws a wicked slider first pitch that really gets you questioning things and paints 92 with a fastball away. Your Ty McDevitt, you're enjoying this. That's a good take. This is a great matchup, Clay. I mean, these are two. Rutschman's going to be a first-rounder next year. Meyer's tracking to be a really high pick in 2 years when he's a junior. This is a fun matchup.
Longest outing this year for Meyer, 3 1/3 against Michigan State back in mid-May. John Anderson is looking for that and more here tonight in Game 2 of this Super Regional. A must-win for Minnesota. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. 1 down.
Wow. I mean, so you start with the first pitch slider. Look at how wicked that pitch. It just vanishes underneath your hands. And then 92 away. Good take by Rutschman right there. So he just adjusts and throw it for a strike. Goodness gracious. And remember, Clay, Rutschman's a left-handed hitter. It's twice as hard if you're a right-handed hitter.
And that's what Gretler is. He comes up 1 for 2 here tonight. He's got 3 hits in the Super. And he's behind in the count.
Rutschman's in the dugout telling somebody, hey, pull the fire alarm. This is not good. This is really good stuff. I mean, you don't see Rutschman and Gretler swing and miss by that much. That just tells you how good of a pitch that is from Meyer.
One of the more electric arms in the country. And he stays in his home state, pitching for the Golden Gophers in their first Super Regional appearance. Strike 2.
And again, Clay, if you're struggling with, you're getting your mind around why is the closer in the 6th. Max Meyer's not a traditional closer. They extend him. He's a guy that they'll throw for 6 outs, 9 outs. In this case, you know, who knows, 10 outs. He's a guy that he's not a 1-inning closer. They've extended him to be a multi-inning leverage reliever.
Warnick at first, and Meyer will throw over. Gretler extending his hitting streak to 13 games in the 2nd inning. And then he lined into a double play in the 4th. The 0-2. Ground ball foul.
Now, if you're Oregon State, you know, obviously, Clay, they haven't won a bazillion games over the last 2 years by just giving in and being in awe of a guy like Max Meyer. This is an older club, and they'll go to school. What I think Pat Casey will have his hitters do is climb all over the plate, because everything from Meyer is going away from you if you're a right-hander. The cutter goes away, The slider goes away. He does not pitch in very much. That fence tells you everything you need to know about this program.
Trying to get back to Omaha. Are the Beavers? A win tonight does that for him. This is hit well to left. Going back, Mazinga. He'll make the catch in front of the warning track for out number 2. Boy, that was tattooed. But it's the second out, and Novak will come up.
Doesn't matter how good your stuff is, Clay. If you're up in the zone against a good hitter, it's dangerous. Boy, Gretler just missed that. I mean, this is fun, Clay. We're playing really good baseball tonight. Just an outstanding baseball game.
Novak walked and scored a run in the 5th. First time up, grounded into a double play. 61 years of coaching behind these two head coaches at their respective schools right now. Each guy has been in this game a long time. And in the case of Pat Casey, he was a longtime NAIA coach before coming to Oregon State.
And two guys that have a lot of pride in their home state. John Anderson is a Minnesota guy through and through. Pat Casey is an Oregon guy through and through. The perfect coaches for these two programs.
Who both look like they need a Tums about now.
Oh my gosh, this is... I wouldn't call these stress-free moments for the coaches, Clay. It's well said.
The 2-0 pitch. Breaking ball, strike 1. You know, that's the thing that's so impressive with Meyer. It's the breaking and the off speed and the movement pitches that go along with a devastating fastball.
And I mean, that was 2-0 and they go breaking ball right there. It's amazing, the command. But you could see the look on Meyer's face. One thing the coaches say, he's not scared. This kid loves to mix it up. He loves to compete. And you could see that on his face. This moment does not look too big for him.
2-2.
You know, bottom line, Clay, he's throwing his slider at the same velocity Fredrickson was throwing his fastball.
Here's Patrick Fredrickson. Comes out here in the 6th. Officially goes 5+ tonight.
Really impressive outing. You can throw those numbers away. I mean, he did everything his team needed and more.
Just staying alive is Novak.
The one downside, and it's not just the Max Meyer show in the Minnesota bullpen, they've got other guys. But the one thing, the advantage for Oregon State is getting an early look in this game at Max Meyer. If he's going to be a factor, you know, the hitters will get multiple looks. If he's going to be in game 3, eventually the Oregon State hitters will start to get acclimated to Meyer's stuff. Discussing bullpen options right there, Nate Yeski and Pat Casey.
The pen is inactive right now. Bryce Fimmel worked out of a jam in the 5th. Lead at 3-2 here in the top of the 6th. Minnesota the home team in this game. Oregon State will be back as the home team tomorrow night should we need a game 3. 2-2, struck him out. Max Meyer comes out of the pen and gets 3 outs. It's 3-2 Gophers. All right, thanks, Matt. Time now to check our bracket presented by Capital One. North Carolina's on to Omaha. Winner of this Super Regional will take on the Tar Heels in Omaha a week from today. in the Big O on Father's Day weekend. Alongside Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick. Minnesota leading 3-2 as we move to the bottom of the 6th. The Gophers at the plate. It's Boxwell, Kozicki, and McDevitt, 7, 8, 9. Against Bryce Femmel, the junior right-hander for Oregon State, the starter in this ball game for the Beavers, still working.
There you go, 2-6. Battle now. Here we go, Bryce.
Alex Boxwell 0 for 2, struck out against Femmel his last time up.
On Bryce. Here we go.
Bruins, Mississippi State. If they can hang on and get to Omaha, sounds like they're looking beyond Gary Henderson as an option to be the permanent head coach.
Yeah, and Gary Henderson's got a job in college baseball. He's one of the most respected pitching coaches in the country. But you're right, what a job. An Oregon native, he's a Eugene, Oregon guy, was on the staff here at Oregon State when Pat Casey was really getting this thing going. And, again, all three of the guys on that staff, Gary Henderson, Jake Gautreaux, Mike Brown, have done an awesome job, and the country has noticed. If those kids and that coaching staff get to Omaha this year, goodness gracious, what a job.
2-2 to Boxwell. Called strike 3. And it's the second time that Boxwell goes down and strikes. 1 down. And for more information on the College World Series, which starts in 7 days, go to NCAA.com. In fact, June 16th, our game coverage starts 3 Eastern time. There's an interactive bracket there at NCAA.com to follow along with the tournament. Kozicki comes up. 0 for 1 with a walk. He walked with the bases loaded in the 4th inning. Pushed across Minnesota's second run. A couple of times Femmel has looked like he was right on the edge of coming out of this ball game, and he's managed to stay in. Bounding ball to the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, Caden Grenier. Shows off his arm. Kozicki's out number 2.
This is why Femmel has won so many college baseball games, because it was really dark there a couple innings ago. He couldn't find anything, and to be able to right yourself mid-game, really impressive.
Nate Yeske in his 10th season as the Oregon State pitching coach. He was a very good pitcher in his own right at UNLV, ended up in the Twins system. And it's going to be a 1-2-3-6 for Bryce Femmel.
The stars, are they starting to align themselves?
Wetzel drives it down the right field line all the way into the corner. It's going to score 3 runs. And Sussdorf puts a charge into this one. It's gone! For the first time ever, a number 4 regional seed heading to the College World Series.
Cinderella won a championship as Mike Patrick made the call on the last out in Omaha. Clay Matvick alongside my partner Mike Rooney, who was an assistant coach on that Arizona State team.
Well, not on that team. Yeah, I was gone by then, thank goodness.
You'd recruited a lot of those guys.
I'll tell you, if you want to know how good that Arizona State team was, the kid pitching was Mike Leake, and the kid in center field was Jason Kipnis.
Wow.
Those are 2 fairly well-compensated big leaguers right now.
What a year that was for Fresno State. Kind of coming out of nowhere.
Amazing.
As the 4 seed in the regional. Clay Matvick, Mike Rooney here in Corvallis, Oregon, on a night where we've got a terrific college baseball game. As we move to the 7th, Jack Anderson, Zach Taylor, Stephen Kwan, 8, 9, and 1 here in the 7th for the Beavers, who have won 23 of their last 28. They're facing Max Meyer now. He was a game changer immediately coming out of the pen last inning.
This Oregon State team, but this kid is a handful. I mean, the ball just jumps out of his hand, and the life on his pitches is tremendous. That's not something that not every kid can throw a slider in the upper 80s. That's a big time pitch.
Oregon State 8-7-1 when trailing after 6.
Yeah, only super team with a winning record in that case.
It's not a bad record.
Yeah,
really,
that's what happens. You're losing after 6, you lose. That's typically what happens.
Last year, Oregon State went to Omaha with a 54-4 record. If they make it this year, it won't be as gaudy, but still impressive. If they can win it tonight, it'll be their 49th victory against 10 losses. Anderson lashes at foul. He had a bunt single his last time up. College World Series appearance last year, the 5th under Pat Casey. That was the 6th in program history. They also went back in 1952. Then they had a big gap. Got back in 05, 06 and 07, 13 and 17. Struck him out. 3rd strikeout for Max Meyer since coming out of the pen.
I mean, this is just a devastating pitch. It's a slider at 88 miles an hour, and watch this pitch disappear on Anderson. Goodbye. Looks like a strike, and it's high velocity, and you've got no chance.
Zach Taylor has struck out twice tonight. Sometimes against Fredrickson, obviously, who left the game last inning after walking the leadoff man Larnach. Fredrickson goes 5 innings, gives up 2 runs, 7 hits, walked 3, struck out 3.
That's that's not a hittable pitch.
Nope.
And you know, it's interesting, Clay. If you're in Oregon State, you start thinking about, okay, what can we do with this kid? You can't bunt on him. He's a high school shortstop. You can see how athletic he is. Looks like he could dunk a basketball. Hard to run on him. You just hope you run into one. Now that is the first key. You saw it right there for Taylor. The first thing the Oregon State hitters got to do is they've got to stay off that slider down. And that is really easy to say. It's a whole different animal to try and pull that off. Make him be up.
The 2-1 to Taylor. And now it's 2-2. And again, John Anderson is going to look to Max Meyer to go several innings tonight. His longest outing, 3 1/3. And officially, his role is closer for this Gophers team, but we need him to go a little longer tonight. Ground ball, second base. Pedersen has to charge and hurry. And gets Taylor. 2 down for Quan.
Well, now it gets real because, you know, Max Meyer's got big league caliber stuff, and he's going to face this part of the Oregon State order that are all kids that are that caliber players. So it's big on big right now.
This would be Quan's first at bat against Meyer. RBI single against Fredrickson back in the 5th. Strike 1. Caden Grenier is on deck for the Beavers, the first of 3 straight first-round picks in this Oregon State order. Quan, a 5th rounder to the Cleveland Indians this week. One of 6 Beavers drafted by major league clubs this week.
That's awesome. Only a freshman like Max Meyer could have that. Just old school. Doesn't even have the pitcher's toe on his shoe. He probably thought he was a shortstop when he got there and said, I don't need a pitcher's toe.
That's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Explain pitcher's toe to the novice.
So a position player, the pitchers, they drag that foot on the mound so it kills the shoe. So they put an extra layer of covering on that shoe, and they call it a pitcher's toe.
Flip foul.
And so Max Meyer is such a good athlete, and he came as a 2-way player. He probably said, he missed the meeting about the pitcher's toe. And now he's got a big hole in his shoe, which is great. This is old school closing right here. I mean, just grip it and rip it. It's not because Minnesota can't afford a new cleat, Clay. That's what I'm trying to get at.
A foul ball off the cleat of Stephen Kwan.
I tell you that what Meyer does so naturally is his fastball just comes out at 92, 93 miles an hour. He's a natural strike thrower, and they call a lot of sliders in bad counts. He can throw his slider for a strike anytime he wants. And you get to tell he's not spooked at all. He's loving it.
And he could end up getting Minnesota to a Game 3 in this series. 2-2. Going to be a tough play for Micah Coffey. Bare hand, no throw. Infield single for Stephen Kwan. And the first base runner that Max Meyer will have to deal with.
Well, for Stephen Kwan, it's not pretty, but it's any way you can. You can see he literally... That ball started foul and came on the field. This is the game right here, Clay. I mean, this is... Max Meyer's going to face a bunch of future big leaguers from here on in.
Here's the Orioles' first rounder, Caden Grenier, from suburban Las Vegas. Strike one. Grenier ticked off that his Knights did not get it done in the Stanley Cup final.
That's right.
He thought they had it won.
That's awesome. That's a good take by Grenier for me. You're not offering a first pitch slider from Meyer. I don't think that's the right plan.
In the dirt, knocked down by Eli Wilson. Kwan will stay at first.
Wilson becomes really critical. This is nasty breaking stuff from Meyer. Kwan is a really good ball in the dirt guy. He sees a breaking ball kicking away, he is going to be out of it. I mean, he's going to be really on the move. So Wilson's ability to control a ball in the dirt is going to be huge. Here comes the slider again.
1-1. Popped up. Long run for Kozaki from right field. The second baseman, Pedersen, is there. And they get the out. Pedersen with the catch. And Oregon State strands a runner. Back at Corvallis in the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Don't forget SportsCenter tonight after Mississippi State Vandy over on ESPN. Butchergross and Connors will talk about Justify making history, the 13th horse to win the Triple Crown. Plus a look at the St. Jude Classic third round and all the highlights from MLB and more. SportsCenter, 12:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 Pacific.
No SportsCenter highlight on LeBron to the Sixers. That's disappointing. They just haven't inked it yet, maybe?
Alongside Philadelphia native Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick. As we're in the bottom of the 7th now. You and those Sixers.
I don't know that LeBron's a good fit for us anyway, though.
Right, sure.
It's, you know, I mean, maybe we haven't decided if we want LeBron yet.
I'm sure he'll call you.
No, we told him, don't call us, we'll call you.
Okay. Top of the order here for Minnesota. Up a run, trying to force a Game 3 tomorrow night.
You know, so much of the game feels focused on Meyer versus Oregon State. This side's really important. If you're Minnesota, you've got to tack on. You've got to add to that lead and also get Femmel out of the game and get into the Oregon State bullpen. It's an area where they don't have great depth. You want to expose that if you're Minnesota.
It's really amazing, and you touched on this last inning, that Femmel is still in this ballgame here in the 7th inning. His career-high pitch count is 117. He's at 100 now. There have been so many times he's been teetering on the brink of leaving this game. And he walks the leadoff man here in the 7th, and Pedersen points to the Gopher dugout and says, come on, guys, bring me around. We need some insurance.
The fielder, number 1, Ben Pazenga.
Ironically, I think if you're Pat Casey, you could leave Femmel in here because you know it's fairly certain that Minnesota is going to bunt right here. You know, I wonder if Dylan Pierce, those guys already got loose. I wonder if they're already in the dugout ready to go.
Rain starting to come down again here in Corvallis. How Pat Casey built an empire here in this climate, I will never know, but he has done it.
Crazy. You know, think about some of the star players. Trevor Larnach, NorCal kid. Madrigal is from Sacramento. Grenier is from Las Vegas. Those kids can go to any program they wanted on the West Coast, and they're picking Oregon State. It's incredible.
Of course, Minnesota can identify with cold weather and trying to play baseball. Called strike on the outside corner. Minnesota played 13 games this year inside the Minnesota Vikings Stadium, US Bank Stadium. That's why they were able to stay consistent during the late winter, early spring, because it was one of the worst winters in the upper Midwest in about 15 years.
Like, what does that mean in the upper Midwest? Like 7,000 feet of snow? Like, it's hard every winter, isn't it?
Gets a lot of snow. Foul. Oh, diving out there is Rutschman. How athletic is that man?
He made a play in the College World Series last year, diving to catch a bunt. He is an incredible athlete, and that's why he's a guy that's a first-round pick next year. I mean, even to get near that baseball is incredible. It's not just the baseball. He's a great athlete.
Former high school linebacker and kicker. Played on the Oregon State football team as a kicker a couple seasons ago.
I don't. If I'm John Anderson, I'm not sure I'm having Ben Mazinga bunt here. I know you want to get the runner to second base, but Femmel doesn't have a strikeout pitch.
And here comes Nate Yeske, the Oregon State pitching coach. And he is known to make pitching changes.
Boy, this is interesting. If you're bringing a guy in, 0-2 count, I mean, it's as comfortable as it gets, right? And maybe what they're thinking is the bunt situation's over, so you're not worried about bringing a reliever in to field a bunt, which you would hate to do. It's really not a bad time to get him.
He is going to get him. And it will be the left-hander. The freshman Chamberlain coming in. Femmel gets a round of applause here in Corvallis.
Taking over on the hill for Oregon State, number 34, Christian Chamberlain.
And move on to the Big O. New pitcher, Christian Chamberlain. He's going to come in and inherit an 0-2 count on Mazinga.
Yeah, and don't let that size trick you. Chamberlain's got a really good arm. This is not like a pitch backwards, nice little lefty. You can see it's a lot of walks and a lot of strikeouts, and what that tells you is it's a lot of missing bats. And then I think that's why Pat Casey probably brought him in with an 0-2 count, give him as much chance to get comfortable, and the bunt situation is seemingly past.
First appearance in the regional or super regional for Chamberlain.
Stay in there, Blue. Stay in there.
First appearance since May 20th for the freshman.
Fastball at 91. It's good stuff. Really good arm.
You don't see a lot of pitching changes mid at bat. That's the case here. Mazinga now 1-2. You got Pedersen over at first for Minnesota. The lefty comes home, misses up. 2-2. So we can look at Bryce Femmel in the dugout out of this ball game. 6+ tonight. 3 runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, struck out 6. Looked like he was doomed a couple of times in the early innings, but he hung in there and gave his team a quality outing.
Sure did. Gave him a chance. Chamberlain's got a really good left-handed breaking ball. I wonder if we'll see it right here. You know, their concern is if you're Nate Yeske and you're calling pitches, Chamberlain's not a great strike thrower yet, so you don't want to mess with getting to a 3-ball count. Whatever you're going to do, you want to do it right now.
Before tonight, Oregon State had not trailed in the postseason. They've been down a couple of times by a run. They trailed by a run here. Minnesota down to needing 6 defensive outs to force a third game. Breaking ball called strike 3. It's the second time that Mazenga has gone down looking tonight. Great job by Chamberlain in the first man he faces. As we check in the studio with Matt Schick. Elijah McNamee has been the big hero throughout this postseason for Mississippi State. 5 homers, couple of walk-offs, and this last out, Ben Mazenga goes down looking. Good start for Chamberlain's night.
That's a big, nasty breaking ball. At 72 miles an hour, think about this. If you're the Minnesota lefties, his fastball's at 91, his breaking ball's at 72.
And he works ahead of Vavra.
Where do these freshmen come from?
I don't know.
I mean, these freshmen are coming in and just tearing it up. Chamberlain could be a really important piece for Oregon State if he can throw strikes, because he's such a good matchup for the left-handed hitters from Minnesota.
Terran Vavra, a single and a run scored in the 4th. 1 for 3. Breaking ball, that's a strike. 0-2 to Vavra, who grew up helping out his dad at Minnesota Twins games. His dad, Joe, was the hitting coach for the Twins. Now works for the Tigers organization. The best hitter for Minnesota, but he's behind Chamberlain.
It's interesting. If you're Nate Yeske, you've got to keep calling picks to first, because Pedersen is a threat to run, and that gets a big runner in scoring position. But every time a lefty throws to first who's a freshman, you're worried, is he going to throw it into right field? This is where the Chamberlain's going to have better command as he continues to mature as a pitcher. That's 0-2 gutter ball, fastball right down the middle. Really fortunate that Vavra didn't put that in a gap. This is a hitter, Vavra. He can't beat you if you're Chamberlain. You got to expand the plate here. That's the move I like to first. Super simple. Because remember, Pedersen's going to just cheat. He's going to go first movement. So any throw to first, if he's going, you got him.
We have not had an error in this Super Regional yet for either team. And I'm sure Pat Casey's thinking that too. How many times do we want to tempt fate here with throws over to first?
This is Super Regional tension right there. You see everybody's taking deep breaths. You can see even Zach Taylor's over there on high alert.
John Anderson, 37 years as head coach, first time coaching in a Super Region. Of course, they've only had this format since '99, but last Sunday's regional championship was the first for him and the first for the Gophers since 1977 when he was a player coach. Pedersen away from first. The 1-2 to Vavra. They'll have to wait. Two and two.
The more you see Terran Vavra play, the more you love him. I mean, this kid is a big leaguer. There's no doubt in my mind. Just runs a great at bat, sure-handed defender, baseball instincts off the charts.
He's got 8 hits in the national tournament. But he strikes out here. back-to-back Ks for the freshman, Chamberlain. 2 down for Hansen.
Boy, that is a big pitch. Look at the depth on this breaking ball. I mean, that starts right at Vavra. Chamberlain has been super sharp so far. If I'm John Anderson right now, Clay, I'm thinking about running just because of how dominant Chamberlain's been. And I know that, or if I'm John Anderson, I know Oregon State has picked over a boatload of times, but my hitters are telling me it doesn't look like we're about to put a ball in the gap.
Here comes Nate Yeske again.
I think this is a talk for Nate Yeske's talking about, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Chamberlain's a freshman who's had a choppy year. Let's really stay focused and in the moment. I just don't see how you could take him out of the game. He's the perfect matchup for Hansen.
Toby Hansen has been put back in the cleanup spot tonight. For the last several weeks, since coming back from injury, he has been hitting well in the 9-hole. Back in the number 4 spot tonight. He's been on twice, hit by a pitch, and walked.
That's a really good visit right there, because that's what happens to freshmen. They get excited and they get ahead of themselves and they forget about the next pitch. And you know Chamberlain's thinking, I just struck out Taran Vavra. He knows who that kid is, and you get him focused right back in the next moment. That is really good coaching.
Dylan Pierce is back up for the Beavers in the bullpen as Vavra thinks about that last at bat. Chamberlain will put Pedersen back to first again.
Those picks to first, Clay, it's just you're juggling chainsaws. Now, I do like that kind of pseudo throw to first. It's only going to kick away so far, but how long can you hold your breath, I guess? Wow.
Strike one to Toby Hansen, who drove in Minnesota's only run with a solo homer to lead off the 8th inning yesterday. And that was against Luke Heimlich, who had been just about unstoppable up to that point. Was inside. It did hit him. 2 on for Minnesota. Second time Hansen's been hit by a pitch. Rutschman is pleading his case to the home plate umpire Darrell Arnold that it didn't hit him. But he's fallen on deaf ears, and now here comes Pat Casey. He wants to talk with the umpire.
It's a big fastball. Let's see. I don't think that hit him.
I don't think so either.
Hansen did a nice job selling that. It just, I don't know how Rutschman's catching the ball that cleanly if it hit Hansen. But I'll tell you, I really like Madrigal and Rutschman go out to the mound to try and calm Chamberlain down. And Rutschman did a nice thing, too, where he stated his case with Darrell Arnold in a very respectful way.
We do have instant replay review here in the Super Regionals, but that is not a replay situation.
And I'll tell you, it's big, Clay, because now you got a runner in scoring position.
2 on, 2 out. Micah Coffey, he's been very good in the NCAA tournament. Had the game-winning RBI last week against UCLA in Game 2 for Minnesota. He falls behind here to Chamberlain. Coffey, the number 5 hitter for Minnesota. An RBI single his last time up. Line drive, just foul for Coffey. Oregon State dodging a bullet there.
Yeah, and Coffey does a really nice job with the left-on-left breaking ball. And I think that's the scouting report on Minnesota. They've dominated left-handed pitching this year, even though they're very left-handed. And it's because they really handle left-handed breaking ball. If I'm Nate Yeskie, I'm making Coffey deal with Chamberlain's fastball.
Pedersen led off the inning with a walk against Fimmel. Hansen hit by a pitch. Third Gopher hit by a pitch tonight. 2 base runners, 2 outs. 0-2 to Coffey. 1-2. Minnesota needs to win tonight to keep its season alive.
Boy, what a ball game this has been.
Both teams have a freshman on the mound. Max Meyer came on in relief in the 6th for the Gophers, and Christian Chamberlain relieving Fimmel this inning. Backs off the plate. 2-2.
I'm resisting the temptation to go breaking ball here, Clay. Coffey really stung it. It was almost like you ran into his bat with the breaking ball. Make him deal with that heater.
It is the heater, but it's out of the zone. And it's a full count to the Minnesota third baseman.
I still think fastball is the right pitch here, but the problem is he's seen a bunch of them now. And now if you're Oregon State, you've got 2 runners in motion. Ball down the line, ball in the gap. Potentially 2 runners score here.
Gophers are hoping MC Hammer can come through. That's Coffey's nickname. Pat Casey, the Minnesota hitting coach, gave him that nickname, and it has stuck. Yep, there are 2 Pat Caseys. There's that fastball fouled back into the mid of Rutschman. Minnesota strands 2, but they lead it by 1. We go to the 8th here in Corvallis.
With the 4th selection of the 2018 MLB Draft, the Chicago White Sox select Nick Madrigal.
What a moment for the junior from Elk Grove, California. You know, Jose Altuve is not very big either, but he plays big. Madrigal's going to have a big career in this game.
No doubt. This is a great player.
That was on Monday. Still not a big fan of the timing of the draft, how it correlates with the college baseball postseason. But what an exciting time in the lives of these young men
no doubt.
Who are drafted by major league teams, including Nick Madrigal and the guy behind him, Trevor Larnach, who was drafted by the Twins, 20th overall this week.
And this is where the super regionals are just fantastic. I mean, you've got Max Meyer, one of the best freshman arms in the country, facing these first-round picks.
Madrigal 1 for 3. He had a single and a stolen base in the first inning. The Beavers strung 3 hits together right away in the first and scored on Patrick Fredrickson. It appeared that it was going to be another Oregon State buzzsaw tonight. Ground ball, Vavra. Strong throw. Got Madrigal. 1 down. But Fredrickson did a great job. Went 5 innings tonight for Minnesota. And now Max Meyer, the reliever for the Gophers, who came on in the 6th inning.
What a start for Fredrickson. Boy, because remember, the Oregon State offense just dominated the game, the first game. And Fredrickson came in and dealt with all kinds of traffic and just found ways to get out of innings.
Larnach with 1 out in the 8th. Couple of hits tonight. Walked his last time up, so Minnesota hasn't been able to put him out yet.
This is a big at-bat for Meyer. Larnach, of all the Oregon State hitters, seems like the best matchup, the guy best suited to handle Meyer's slider.
He's selective, he's very patient, and he's left-handed.
Slider down.
And that's a big take. Most of the Oregon State hitters have offered at that pitch. You see Madrigal just rolled over on that pitch. Larnach's really the first guy to stay off of it.
Right at the bottom of the zone for strike one. 2 balls and a strike.
It's
the Oregon State right field.
Great take by Larnach.
Yeah.
That's nothing you're going to do with that pitch. It's just an elite pitch by Meyer. That pitch plays anywhere.
That is crushed but foul. 2-2. Meyer, the true freshman from Woodbury, Minnesota. First team All Big Ten. 16 saves this year. Tying the single season Gopher record set last year by Brian Glowicki. And used in a long relief situation tonight. Came in the 6th inning with nobody out and a man on. Got the next 3 hitters to get out of the 6th. Gave up a hit in the 7th. No damage done. Now he's dealing with Larnach with 1 out here in the 8th. And a 3-2 count. There's Rutschman on deck. Rutschman's been fairly quiet tonight.
Oregon State has. Boy, that's a great foul ball right there. What a great battle this is. Meyer and his slider versus Larnach.
Winner of this series faces North Carolina a week from today in Omaha. The Tar Heels won their series with Stetson today. First College World Series since 2013 for the Tar Heels. 7th trip under Mike Fox, the ACC Coach of the Year. Check the swing. Did he go? No. That's a base on balls. Larnach is aboard on a free pass for the 2nd straight at bat.
Boy, Clay, that's not a good at bat. That's a big time at bat right there. Meyer made great pitch after great pitch, and it finishes with this slider right there.
Whew. And he did hold up.
He sure did.
Well, it seems like this game is now hanging in the balance. And Rutschman comes up. A strikeout victim his last time to the plate against Meyer.
And he just got the answer to the test from his teammate Larnach. You got to stay off the slider down.
This is a great matchup. Meyer and Rutschman, they'll be on the collegiate national team this coming year.
And coached by Paul Maneri. Meyer will be pitching to Rutschman this summer.
Breaking ball in there for strike 1. Paul Maneri, the head coach of LSU.
Coach Maneri's got to be loving this. These are 2 studs going at each other.
John Savage was the U.S. Collegiate National Team head coach last year, the UCLA head coach. Outside.
Go 3-5.
Beavers down to their last 5 outs in this ball game, trailing by 1. First time trailing in this postseason. And now 1-2 to Rutschman.
It's a difficult task against Meyer because you're so slider conscious, and then he sneaks that 91-mile-an-hour fastball in there on you.
50 pitches now for Meyer. He has thrown 3 1/3 innings. It's his longest outing of the year. That was against Michigan State back in mid-May, May 13th. Ground ball through the hole left side. Larnach will stop at second. Rutschman delivers a 1-out bingo here in the 8th. 2 on for Oregon State. And Gretler coming to the plate. Stadium is coming alive here. The Beavers got it going in the 8th inning. Ty McDevitt, Minnesota pitching coach, comes out.
And I think it's a tough call if you're Minnesota. If you just keep riding Meyer out in this game, he's probably not available for a game 3. And Gretler really got into a baseball in the last at bat. In theory, though, his slider's a great matchup for Gretler.
Close to 4,000 in attendance here again tonight in Corvallis, Oregon. Max Meyer, 2 1/3 innings so far. He has 2 on, 1 out. And Gretler, who lined one off of him to left field last time up, at the plate.
I'll tell you, Clay, Larnach at second base, not a great runner. So there could be a play at the plate. He's a good runner, not a great runner. That's amazing. And with all the pressure of this situation, which Meyer looks completely oblivious to, and he just flips that slider in there for a strike at will.
Maybe that's the advantage of being a freshman in this situation. He doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Well said. That's it.
Look at that fresh face. The 0-1.
Might have gotten away with one there. If Gretler offers it that's a ball maybe he could drive. It's a ball, and you get yourself back in the count.
John Anderson directing his fielders. Gretler, picked by the Pirates in the 39th round last year, decided to come back for his senior year. Pirates got him in the 10th round this year. And now it's 1-2 to the senior third baseman.
There's a little too much with that swing for Gretler. You could see him jumping out of there and pulling out of there. Rutschman gave you the key. It's the other side of the field. If he's going to slider you to death, you've got to stay to the other side of the field. And again, if you're Meyer, that pitch is so good, I think you trust it and you keep running with it.
There's a tying run. Trevor Larnach at second base. Rutschman's at first, representing the go-ahead run. The pitch. Cranked to left, but foul. Meyer hangs a breaking ball. Gretler gets around on it.
That is up in your wheelhouse. Wow. Dodged one right there. I'll tell you though, Clay, if Meyer executes the slider down and away, Gretler's really running out of there. I think he's a punch out if you're Meyer and you get your slider down and away.
Again, the 1-2. Slider down and away. You were right, Runes. Got him.
You know, the bottom line, Clay, this is a big league pitch. Gretler pulls off that. That's a pitch that's starting in the strike zone, and then it's gone.
Now batting the designated hitter, number 28.
Beautiful.
Kyle Novak.
Now Kyle Novak.
Boy, wouldn't this be something? Novak, a fifth-year senior, that's battled through a ton of injuries. This is a tall task against Meyer and that slider, but what a story Novak would be.
Meyer struck him out last time. Starts him with one upstairs, 1-0.
It's just such a good pitch.
A 22-pitch seventh, 20 so far this inning. But he's navigated so far without giving up a run, a very difficult part of the Oregon State lineup. He's now in the 7-hole. Hit well, base hit! Keep an eye on Larnach. Kozuki fields it in right. He'll spin and throw it to the infield. A run scores. We're tied up. The veteran Kyle Novak delivers the tying run here in the 8th inning.
What an approach. Slider away. Well done.
Second hit this inning. Third allowed by Max Meyer. Runners at the corners. Rutschman at third, Novak at first, and now Jack Anderson gets a chance. He'll hack at the first pitch and twist it out of play.
Same thing, Clay. Eli Wilson so critical right here with those sliders. If one's in the dirt, he has got to be a blocking animal right now. Go ahead run at third base. And if you're Anderson, you know, Novak showed you the answer right there. It's the other side of the field. What Novak and Rutschman did.
Outside to Anderson. The ball and a strike. Go ahead run at third for Oregon State, who took the lead in the first inning. Minnesota tied it up in the third, took the lead in the fourth, added to the lead in the fifth. Oregon State has tied it up. That hit the outside corner, 1 and 2.
Boy, now you're in a pickle if you're Anderson, because Meyer is going to attack your back left foot with that slider. It's going to start in the strike zone and then disappear below your bat. You got to see it great and stay off it. This pitch is really something else.
Now 2 and 2. You know, the SEC, which you and I cover a lot during the regular year, the ACC as well, considered two of the best conferences in the country, along with the Pac-12. So we've seen a pretty good array of stadiums in this country. I don't know that there are better fans anywhere than right here in Corvallis.
Oh, awesome, awesome atmosphere.
Outside.
I'll tell you, if you're John Anderson and Ty McDevitt, this is Meyer's hitter, but this is the first time we've started to see him really miss spots. Really has lost command of that slider right there. This may be his last hitter.
Minnesota's pen.
I think they'll go to Rose. If Anderson gets on, I think they will make a change.
And now Meyer steps off the back of the mound. 4,025 in attendance here tonight. A new single game record at Goss Stadium. And they are crawling all over the freshman pitcher. Struck him out. And Max Meyer gets out of the inning without any further damage. But we're tied as Kyle Novak, the senior DH, drives one to right. 3 apiece here in Corvallis. 2 freshman relievers that we're seeing in this game execute flawlessly, and Chamberlain has been really good for Oregon State.
Yeah, you see that big left-handed breaking ball and an even bigger fastball right there. We're seeing 2 freshmen with elite stuff. Chamberlain with a fastball in the low 90s and a breaking ball in the low 70s. Really impressive what the youngsters are getting done here.
Chamberlain working here in the 8th. Wilson, Boxwell, Kozicki, 6, 7, and 8 for the Gophers. Tie game now as Oregon State tied it up in the top of the 8th. Minnesota has to win tonight to force a 3rd and deciding game in the Super Regional. A win tonight for Oregon State sends them to Omaha for the 7th time in program history. It's John Anderson, the longtime head coach in Minnesota, coaching in his first Super Regional. Strike to Wilson. Rooney, we talked about this before. Minnesota was slammed last night by Luke Heimlich and the Oregon State offense. 8-1 the final. What a response by Minnesota. But now it's a tie ball game. It'll be interesting to see how the Gophers respond now that we're back to even.
And it's the Gopher offense that needs to step forward here. It's a really good.
He's also reached on a hit and a hit by pitch. Here's Luke Heimlich. He went 8 2/3 last night in his final appearance at Goss Stadium. The senior struck out 9. Second strikeout in a row for Chamberlain.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals is presented by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
Alongside Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick, along with a great ESPN crew here in chilly Corvallis. No rain right now. We have had rain off and on throughout this ball game. A terrific college game here in the Super Regional round. Swung on, hit down the line by Boxwell. Long run for the outfielder, Anderson. And that's a foul ball right in front of the Beavers clubhouse. Alex Boxwell tonight for Minnesota. Couple of strikeouts. Gopher center fielder will come back.
You nailed it, Clay. Oregon State kind of ambushed Minnesota last night.
Yeah.
And that's no slight on Minnesota. Oregon State can be that good. But talking to people during the day today, a lot of people told me, you watch them. These Minnesota kids are proud. They're going to show you something tonight. And boy, have they ever.
Breaking ball, chop foul for Boxwell. It's 0-2. And you got to think in the back of the minds of these players, they don't want to lose tonight because they want to extend the career of Rob Fornacier, a guy that they really respect. He's retiring at the end of the season. And a trip to Omaha would be the ultimate going away gift for the longtime assistant coach.
No kidding. Rob Fornacier recruited every one of these guys.
The 0-2 to Boxwell, and he does not chase. Chamberlain has struck out 4 of the 5 Gopher hitters he's faced since coming on in the 7th inning.
He's got great stuff. I mean, really fantastic stuff.
The 1-2 to Boxwell. And again, down in the zone, Boxwell doesn't chase.
And I'll tell you, the one concern for Oregon State, I don't think Chamberlain could finish this thing. I mean, there's a lot of heavy breathing out there, and he's run through a lot of adrenaline. There's been a lot of stressful pitches. I don't know how much more he's got.
Called strike 3. Another K. 3 in a row and 5 overall for Christian Chamberlain.
As I was saying, for now, he is carving them up. That's just my fastball's better than your swing right there. That's just, I'm better. Wow.
Gaping mouth for Boxwell is he's disappointed here. 3rd time he has struck out tonight. Jordan Kozicki at the dish now for the Gophers. Big hack and strike 1.
And that's a changeup play. I mean, goodness gracious, these freshmen, just when you think, oh, okay, now we're starting to figure him out, he shows you a 3rd pitch right there, first pitch of the at-bat.
You know, the bullpen for Oregon State still has some serious bullets left. Jake Mulholland, Brandon Eisert. We have not seen those guys pitch. There is the left-hander Eisert, and those 6'2" sophomore out of Beaverton.
Sorry, Clay. Those are the two guys when they got a chance to win. That's who they go to. Eisert and Mulholland. Wow, look at right now. Chamberlain's showing you 3 outstanding pitches. I mean, 3+ pitches. That changeup is wicked.
Chamberlain is tied a career high with 5 strikeouts. Looking for 6 here with Kazuki to end the inning and get this thing to the 9th, tied at
3. Guided that one right there. Boy, Chamberlain picked a heck of a time to put it all together. This is impressive.
Two to Kazuki. Ground ball back up the middle. Diving the shortstop. Grenier can't come up with it. And it's a 2-out hit here in the 8th for Kazuki. So the go-ahead run is on for Minnesota, and Cole McDevitt, the Gophers' first baseman, comes up.
I'll tell you the other thing that does, Clay, it guarantees Terran Vavra an at-bat in the 9th. That's the guy for Minnesota. You've got to give him a chance to impact this game.
There's Vavra.
Yeah, that smile says, I'm hitting. I got one more. Oh, here we go with the picks. I like it. Russian roulette.
Cole McDevitt. A single in 3 trips. He scored a run back in the 3rd inning. The Oregon State pitching coach, Nate Yaski. And Chamberlain will go back over to first.
And I'm teasing Nate Yaski for calling picks, but you got to do it. You know, Minnesota, up and down this lineup, very athletic group, and they can run, and they will run. And again, against a kid like Chamberlain, they're just going to cheat and go first movement and take off. Only way to combat that is to pick.
Hit a ton to left center field. But this cool night air in Corvallis means it's not going to carry very well. Minnesota strands a runner. Top of the order for Oregon State when we come back. Welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals. We're in Corvallis. Supers presented by Capital One. And the next stop on the F1 circuit is the Heineken Canadian Grand Prix. Sunday, 1:30 Eastern on ABC. Lewis Hamilton has won this race 6 times, including the last 3 years. Let's see if he can four-peat.
Oh, there's no question he's four-peating.
He knows the track, that's for sure.
In Lewis Hamilton, we trust.
Here we go to the 9th runes, tied at 3. And Max Meyer stays in the game on the mound for the Gophers. He'll face Zach Taylor and then back to the dangerous top of the order with Stephen Kwan and Caden Grenier. 9, 1, and 2. That's what Meyer has done tonight. Taylor is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts.
Isn't it amazing? How did we get back to the top of the order for Oregon State? It feels like they hit every inning.
There's Kwan. He's got hits his last 2 at-bats. Jack to left. Mazenga will run it down in the gap. Boy, that was a screamer, but it's out number 1.
You know, if you're John Anderson right now, Clay, there's 2 things you're thinking about. One is Oregon State's hitters are clearly starting to figure out Max Meyer, but the other thing is he's not going to pitch tomorrow. So you whatever you've got in the tank, now is the time to get it. And you see John Anderson talking to Ty McDevitt a lot. This is a big decision. Do you go to the pen or do you let Meyer keep going?
Well, he has matched his season-long with this outing here tonight. 3 1/3 innings. As Kwan comes up, Facing Meyer for the second time. He reached on an infield single back in the 7th against Meyer. The first hit that Max has allowed.
Nice adjustment by Meyer. Goes to 2 fastballs right there. It clearly right here what you're throwing, I think, is that slider down and in. Start it in the strike zone and bury it on his back foot.
Oregon State and Minnesota tied at 3. Mississippi State and Vanderbilt tied at 3. That game is going to the 9th. Now in Nashville, 2 great college baseball super regional games going on at the same time.
That's a great take right there. Boy, that's a great take. Quan is so difficult to punch out. He struck out 15 times in almost 300 plate appearances this year.
One-two, chop left side. This could be another tough play for Coffey. Has to hurry, won't get him. It's essentially what Quan did back in the 7th inning. Go-ahead run is on first base for Oregon State.
You know, Clay, Oregon State does a lot of the glamorous stuff, hit for power, hit line drives, but they also do the not glamorous stuff. Look at the 2-strike approach. He's letting that ball almost get into Wilson's glove, letting that thing travel as deep as humanly possible. And with the way Quan runs, as soon as that ball was fair, that's safe. And I'll tell you the other thing, Clay, Nick Madrigal probably gets to hit in this inning.
That's why Stephen Quan will probably be a leadoff hitter at the next level, too.
He's so good at that role.
And now Caden Grenier with 1 out and a man on here in the 9th for Oregon State. 1 for 4 tonight, a single and a run scored. And Nick Madrigal would love to get up with runners on.
I tell you, Grenier hasn't swung it great in the Super Regional. I wonder if you do some type of hit and run or bunt or something to get out of the double play and get Madrigal to the dish. Again, Clay, for this, the pitch count, this is an extended reliever. They have trained this kid to pitch multiple innings.
Now 1-2. That was pitch number 75 from Meyer.
I think we put the label closer on people and then we think it's only 20 pitches and 3 batters. That's not what this is. This is a leverage reliever, and he will be a starter.
And we have seen that already here in this national tournament.
Boy, that's a great, really big take for Grenier. The bat was not going well. And if you're Pat Casey, you're really worried. This slider has bothered Grenier, that he gets uncomfortable and just rolls over it, and he is a double play candidate.
Go, battle now, battle. Here we go.
Oregon State with a win tonight, on to Omaha. Minnesota trying to force a Game 3 tomorrow night. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Grenier. Hit toward the gap in right center. It's going to get down for a hit. Stopping at second base is Quan. 2 on, 1 out for Oregon State, and here comes the White Sox first-round pick. Up at the critical time here in the 9th inning.
Number 3, Nick Madrigal.
2 choices if you're John Anderson. I think this is either Max Meyer's last hitter or you go to the pen right now. But Max Meyer's your best guy, Nick Madrigal's their best guy. It probably makes the most sense to let your best guy face him.
Jackson Rose has been warming up for a while for Minnesota. He's waiting for the call.
Jackson Rose has had a great year, but Meyer's their best guy.
Fredrickson, the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, was the starter tonight. Put Minnesota in a great position to win this ball game. And Bryce Femmel was really good for the Beavers tonight. He went 6 and put his team in a position to win this game as well and move on to Omaha. And Quan at second. Grenier at first. Madrigal at the plate. The 1-0. 2-0.
Look at the adjustment, Clay. The previous at-bats for Oregon State, they all chased that slider. And now they've seen Meyer once. You see Madrigal spit on the slider, spit on the slider. You got Larnach on deck. I mean, you gotta throw something to him.
And Larnach hasn't been put out yet tonight. He awaits. The 2-0. 30.
Wow. See, that's the thing, Clay. Nick Madrigal is a baseball player, and he knows he's got a first-round pick behind him. He's not going to chase out of the zone because he's so anxious to be the hero.
The green light Nick Madrigal.
You bet your bottom dollar on green lighting him. This is the 4th pick in the draft. It's absolute green light if he sees it and likes it. No doubt.
Time call. Madrigal a single in the 1st. A ground out in the 4th, a fly out in the 5th, and a ground out in the 8th.
You give him surprised if he goes deep sauce.
Bases loaded. And Trevor Larnach, the cleanup hitter for the Beavers, due up next.
I think you got to get him now, Clay. Larnach really put a good at bat on him last time. He's lost command of the slider. I don't like this matchup if I'm.
Here he comes. That'll do it.
I tell you, it was fun watching Max Meyer, boy. I am all in.
Yep.
That's some kind of arm.
Yeah, he went 3 1/3 tonight and had a lot of steam for a while, but he's run out of gas here in the 9th.
In the pitch for the Gophers, number 37, Jackson Rose.
Max Meyer leaves him loaded for Jackson Rose, but he was impressive at times over his 3 1/3 innings tonight. Struck out 5, gives up a run on 5 hits.
Yeah, Clay, and there's a reason why he's going to be on the college national team this summer. That's a big-time arm. The slider is insane, and it's big velocity, but the competitor, I mean, this is a lot for a freshman, and he came in here and just got after it. It was awfully impressive.
Now Jackson Rose, senior from Omaha. JUCO transfer in his 2nd year at Minnesota. Pretty good numbers. 5-1 with a 2.03 ERA. Taken in the 35th round this week by the Marlins. And he was the winning pitcher in the deciding game of the regional last week against UCLA.
And a really tough assignment for Jackson Rose. If you wonder how talented Trevor Larnach is, he went in the 1st round, but he's locked in. I mean, he's had the best at-bats all night for the Beavers.
He hasn't been out yet tonight. 2 for 2. A single, a double, and a couple of walks. First pitch of Rose's night with the bases loaded. Woo. Wow.
By you, Clay. Wow.
Nearly coming out of his shoes was Larnach, trying to make this a 7-3 game. Larnach 3 for 7, a couple of homers, 18 runs batted in when he's come up this year with the bases loaded.
Fairly good.
The Minnesota Twins, who took him 20th overall, certainly know about Larnach's resume. Strike on the inside corner. Nothing in 2.
Clay, how about Jackson Rose? Big spot, bases loaded, on the road, super regional. First rounder in the box, and it just boom, boom. Here's my fastball. What are you going to do with it? Love it.
Jackson Rose, the son of Jim Rose, the former broadcast voice of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who's in attendance here tonight. Jackson would love to help get his team to his hometown. The 0-2. Struck him out.
Wow.
Wow is right. 2 down.
I mean, how great is that, Clay? You know, fastball, here you go. What are you going to do about it? And it wasn't like it was Larnick's first look at it. He threw 3 of them. That is big-time stuff right there.
There's Max Meyer, who did an admirable job. Left him loaded for Jackson Rose, but now Rose just 1 pitch away from getting out of this jam for the Gophers. And getting the team to the dugout with a chance to win it perhaps in the bottom of the 9th. But he's got to deal with Adley Rutschman first. The catcher singled his last time up.
I'll tell you, really, John Anderson, so clever, where Fredrickson's the changeup guy, slow him down. Myers, the hard slider guy. Rose comes in here just blowing gas. And you could see for the hitters, the slider's still on their mind. They're not getting to the fastball.
Quan at third, Grenier at second. Madrigal at first, bases loaded for Oregon State in this tie game. 2 outs, top of the 9th. Rose to Rutschman. Ball and a strike.
Well, if you're Rutschman and he's a really bright player, you're selling out for the fastball, and it's got to be down. You know, your partner Larnick got caught chasing fastball up out of the zone. Rose not showing any trickery at all. He's coming at you with the heat.
The 1-1. 91 miles an hour. Rutschman fouls it off. They are going to a Game 3 in Nashville. Vanderbilt with a walk-off against Mississippi State. So the Bulldogs getting a taste of their own medicine.
Of course they are. That series is wacky.
Here in Corvallis, it's been a great Game 2. The 1-2 pitch. Hit hard, back up the middle, base hit. Braun scores. Grenier coming around, he'll score. Rutschman delivers in the 9th. (5-3) Oregon State. Rutschman has been driving in runs all year, and he does it here in Game 2 of the Supers. What a clutch hit.
Man. You know, Clay, these Minnesota kids have had so much fight in them tonight. It's been so impressive. But it just feels like the Beavers are an unstoppable force. They're just so good. They're just almost too good.
69 and 70 runs batted in. Bradley Rutschman now. As Gretler comes up with a chance to inflict more damage here on Minnesota in the 9th. Gretler is 1 for 4.
And Jackson Rose throws breaking ball for a strike right there. Could not be more impressed with this Minnesota group. They just keep fighting.
And they've got the top of the order due up in the bottom of the ninth, so don't count the Gophers out just yet.
You can't, because they haven't blinked once. They just keep going.
Runners at the corners, the 0-1 to Gretler. Oh, that hit him. Ooh, and that may have injured him there on that left side. He's holding that hand. Michael Gretler, 10th round pick of the Pirates.
So scary. The hand. Gretler's not a guy they can lose. He is so important to this club. Oh boy, that's
a tender spot.
Not great. See the hand shaking like that.
That is a tender spot.
Boy, that's scary.
Bases loaded again for Oregon State. And here is Kyle Novak, who had the big run batted in the 8th to tie it up at 3. Gretler's going to stay in the game at first. Novak coming up 1 for 3. That huge hit last inning.
Now batting the designated hitter, number 28, Kyle Novak.
Oregon State trying to punch a ticket to Omaha for the 7th time and the 2nd straight year. Novak's hit, and it's 6-3. Does Anderson go get him?
I think you have to now, Clay. You just can't get any further away than 6-3. It already feels like a lot.
Yeah. Oregon State 26 2-out runs batted in this tournament.
It doesn't even make any sense. It just doesn't happen.
Ninth man to hit here in the 9th inning. It's Jack Anderson. Anderson has struck out twice tonight. Obviously the first time facing Rose. He's got the bases loaded. 3 already in the inning for Oregon State. All 3 of these runs charged to Meyer, which is really unfortunate considering how well Runes he pitched tonight.
No question. That's a star pitcher. And even for Jackson Rose, comes in and punches out Trevor Larnach. At the end of the day, Clay, this Oregon State offense is so relentless, and it's a kind of buzzword and probably thrown around too cheaply, but that's really what this offense is. They just don't stop coming at you.
That's why they've won 23 of their last 28 ball games. Inching closer to Omaha again. Ground ball down the line. That's going to be foul. And the count is now 1-2 to Anderson. Looking ahead to the Minnesota 9th. It'll be Pedersen, Mazenga, and Vavra. That's the part of the order, Runes, that the Gophers would want up in a situation where they're down to their last at bat. But now they've got a 3-run hole to dig out of.
Oregon State's going to have a decision to make in the 9th, pitching-wise. Chamberlain's a guy that will walk people, and that's not what you want with a lead in the 9th.
The closer is Jake Mulholland.
Can you get him up quick enough?
He's got 14 saves on the year. Right now it would be a save situation. It's 2-2. That's the Oregon State bullpen. It's not active right now, so it appears it will be Chamberlain.
Yeah. It's scary. I mean, he's a guy with a lot of walks on his stat sheet right now, but he's been great. You know, he's been fantastic.
He hasn't walked anybody tonight. He has hit a batter. In the dirt. Wilson keeps it in front, and there's no place to put him. Bases loaded, and John Anderson seeing the chances of Minnesota forcing a third game slip away here in the ninth. Fans are standing because they're jacked up. They're also standing trying to stay warm.
Yeah. Love it.
Again, the 3-2. Runners go. Swung on and missed. Damage done. Oregon State leads it by 3. Last chance for the Gophers.
Clay, this lineup, it's star after star after star. Here's Adley Rushman. Big pick next year. The Beavers keep coming at you with a lead. Omaha on the line.
Oregon State gets 3 in the top of the ninth. Jake Mulholland will pitch for Oregon State. The lefty closer comes on. And a chance to nail down another trip to Omaha for this program.
Love the move, Clay. See 7 walks in 37 innings. That's what you need is strike throwing. Every rally, almost every rally, has errors and walks. And that's not Jake Mulholland. It's a little funky, kind of a sidearm lefty, if you will. 3 pitches for a strike, and he will pound the strike zone.
The third-team All-American will face Luke Pedersen to start the inning.
Right.
Pedersen leans back. He walked his last time up. He got a hit and a run scored in the 5th. Minnesota led 3-2 after 5, but Oregon State scored 1 in the 8th to tie and 3 in the 9th to take the lead. Yeah. 14 saves and 26 relief appearances for Mulholland. Beavers need 3 outs to have a dog pile.
There we go.
What are the emotions now in these dugouts?
Oh my gosh, you just can't even breathe. You're so tense. You know, for Minnesota, you're fighting for your season, and for Oregon State, you know, Omaha, the promised land, everything you worked for is right there. You can touch it.
The pitching has been real good for both teams tonight.
The score, it's not, this game was one pitch here and there. Super good game. His 6-3 doesn't really describe it.
It's Fredrickson, who started for Minnesota. He did well through 5. Called strike 3. Pedersen goes down looking. Pedersen jawing with the home plate umpire. And Darrell Arnold is going to let that go given the situation.
And you know what? That fire you're seeing from Luke Pedersen is why Minnesota has had the season they've had.
Yep.
You know, I think if he looks at that later, he'll say, I need to foul that pitch off, but that fire is irreplaceable.
That's why they were the Big Ten regular season champs and tournament champs this year. Breaking ball in there to Mazenga for strike one. What a year it's been for Minnesota. 44 wins. They won 18 Big Ten regular season games and swept through the conference tournament. Ball under strike. It could be the last game in the long career for Rob Fornacier, the assistant coach for Minnesota. Those players certainly know it. John Anderson is going to miss that man right there.
No question.
1-2. Didn't mean to. Going to be a tough play for the third baseman. Gretler gave it a good old college try, but Mazenga is aboard with one out here in the ninth. And Taron Vavra will come up.
Always love that, Clay, when you see the first baseman and the runner at first chatting up like that. I mean, these are two teams with a lot of respect for each other. It's been a great Super Regional.
Last game of the day, day 2 of the Supers. The coverage continues tomorrow. As Vavra swings at the first pitch and slices it out of play. North Carolina punching a ticket earlier today. Oregon State can set a match with North Carolina for a week from today in Omaha with a win here tonight. Strike 2.
This is elite strike throwing from Jake Mulholland to come in under this type of pressure with Omaha on the line, and you are just dotting the strike zone. Really impressive.
What a year it's been for Taron Vavra. Just off the plate.
Mulholland just hits Rutschman's mitt over and over again. He doesn't miss a spot.
Second appearance in the national tournament for Mulholland. Pitched the 9th in the deciding game on Sunday against LSU last week. Popped out of play.
This is exactly the type of at-bat you'd expect from Vavra. It just good at-bat after good at-bat. This kid can really do it.
If Vavra can get aboard, that would bring the tying run to the plate in Toby Hansen, the cleanup hitter, who's been on 3 times tonight despite not having a hit. Got it. 2 down. And now a record crowd in Corvallis will come to its feet, looking for the out that will send the Beavers back to Omaha. The senior Toby Hansen. That didn't miss by much.
I mean, Mulholland is all over the strike zone. It is comical how many strikes he throws.
And now the Gophers, in their first super regional appearance in program history, are down to their last strike. And the Beaver fans, in unison, rise to their feet. Oregon State pitchers have fanned 13 Gophers here tonight. Two to Hanson. Got him. Look out, Omaha. Here come the Beavers once again.
For the Beavers, 6 runs, 13 hits and no errors. For the Gophers, 3 runs, 8 hits and no errors. Fans, another nice round of applause for the Minnesota Gophers. Great accomplishments this season. And let's make some noise for the 2018 Super Regional Champion
What a team. For the 7th time, Oregon State will compete in the College World Series. And this is a team, Mike Rooney, that could win it all. There is no doubt about it. They had 6 players drafted this year, 3 in the first round. The pitching is devastating. The fielding is terrific. And the offense might be too much for the field in Omaha to handle.
Clay, you're right. They're not just going to Omaha. They're going to Omaha. If someone's going to win the national title, they're going to have to deal with the Beavers. This is an elite team in so many different ways. So impressed with Minnesota as well. What a season, what a team they have. But this Oregon State club, this is a special group.